The stream is live and I'm feeling okay. I hope y'all have had a very good day. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Cocktail Hour, where it is just me. Is anyone surprised? Let's be honest, we're not. Whatever it is that Polly is doing, whatever it is that he is up to currently, hopefully he will arrive momentarily. I know you are all taking bets in the chat, waiting with bated breath to see when Polly decides to show his happy otter ass on here. At some point, hopefully that will come. But in the meantime, hello everybody. I see we have Joe Lander. I see we have Irate Prostate, Ryan Waters, Daniel Coleman, Zombie Teddy, Lion Patriot. Good morrow to you all. Good morrow. Drink with me, will you? This evening we are drinking a California Riesling, refreshingly sweet as they have put it. It's from Barefoot, and it is the most awarded wine brand, apparently. I'm not surprised. I actually quite like Barefoot. Although I think I need to start branching out a little bit more. I've been told that my taste is sickeningly white in terms of wine, which was never a problem before, but now apparently in the current year it is. So cheers. Shit, Riesling is always the way to go. But I digress. How are we this fine evening, ladies and gentlemen of the chat? Weebo looks like a mother. How do I look like a mother? In what way? I'll see if I can find something to drink. Well, Joel Lander, come on. Let's be honest. You can always find something to drink. Anyone can. Whether or not it's alcoholic is up to you. Port wine is the best. What is port wine? I'm not quite sure. I think I've heard of it. No, I know I've heard of it. I just don't know where I've heard of it from and what it means. You know what? We're going to look it up. You know what? I'm putting this not near the laptop. We're not going to have another disaster. Port wine. Isn't that a type of cheese? Let's see. Port wine is a Portuguese fortified, oh, well, that makes sense. Fortified wine produced with distilled grape spirits exclusively in Douro Valley in the northern provinces of Portugal. It's typically a sweet red wine, often served as a dessert wine, though it also comes in dry, semi-dry, and white varieties. So then what's the freaking, it's just, okay, so is it port because that's where it's from, like Champagne is from Champagne, France? Or is it port because of some other reason? Anyway. You're hungry, Zombie Teddy? You know, I am too. I have a quarter of an apple pie sitting there in the fridge waiting for me. But I have to resist. I have to, you see. I had most of it yesterday. So I need to actually, like, spread these things out a little bit. Did you drive the 30 minutes to get a chicken sandwich? I have not done that yet. And unfortunately, the chicken sandwich did not come to me over the weekend. So I will probably end up driving 30 minutes to get the chicken sandwich from Chick-fil-A at some point. Unfortunately. With your hat thing and braid, you look motherly. Oh, I look motherly. Interesting. And guess who has just arrived? Hello, Polly.
Hello.
Oh,
hello.
Thank God. Your sound is working. Can you hear me?
Was it not working there for a second?
Well, I thought maybe there was, I don't know, maybe there was a delay or something was wrong. But like, okay, guys, last night we invited Polly to play Drunken Quiplash with us, and that didn't work out. So I was worried. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I had persistent internet issues last night, actually. They carried on and on. They were goddamn Comcast.
I don't have these problems. I go to college.
What? I have had plenty of internet issues on campus. You don't have them?
No, we do. Chief among them, when the entire campus lost power for a solid 3 hours on a weekend. This was like 2 weeks ago, actually. Mm-hmm. First time in my entire college career, we just had like a straight on power outage. And I was actually at a performance, a concert, where they were using all of the fancy bells and whistles to make their voices project because they needed to, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to hear them, you know, because certain instruments kind of crowd out voices. And if you're singing a specific voice part or, you know, type, whatever, you're not going to be heard. And it was a little bit of a struggle, but luckily I have friends that save seats for me, which is nice. Anyway, so welcome, Polly. I'm glad you could join us.
Yes. I appreciate that you have matched your beanie and shirt. This is good. This
you
is
appreciate
good.
This?
Yes, it's all very stylized.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Do I look like a mother to you as well?
No, you look.
I do.
You look like a Swiss Miss. I don't know, the braid on the side and the beanie. I don't know. It looks like it's kind of a Swiss thing. I don't know where.
That's fair, I guess. I suppose. I'm in a very festive mood today, Polly.
Are you?
Yeah, I was singing Christmas carols, and I was just kind of dive into it, and I really want to just dive into the holidays, because the moment the holidays come, it means that I'm done with this semester. And this has been probably one of the hardest semesters ever. But as soon as the holidays come, it's just like, oh, I'm chill. I go to Paris afterwards, and then, I don't have to do a goddamn thing.
Paris is asshole.
Huh?
Paris is asshole.
Is asshole? What?
You haven't seen the guy? Donald Trump, no trust China. China is asshole.
Oh, yes, I have seen that, but it was just so far off in left field. Sorry, left field.
You're aware I drink, right?
I'm aware.
Okay.
Are you drinking now?
I am.
What are you drinking, Polly?
Oh, I didn't go fancy today. Today I'm just drinking bourbon, along with an energy drink I have right here.
Oh, you'll be so proud of me. You'll be proud to know that I had bourbon for the first time last night.
And?
It was good. It wasn't bad. I definitely needed a chaser because we were doing shots of bourbon.
Oof. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But it was good bourbon, not, Jim Beam bourbon. Jim Beam bourbon.
Do you know what kind of bourbon it was?
Something Creek. It was like $40.
Knob Creek.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes, that one.
That's 100 proof. Nice. That's That'll do it to you.
And I maintained my streak of never having a hangover.
Excellent.
So we're happy. And yes, it was Bailick's bourbon. We were having a good time. Yes, which is why we wanted you to join us for Quiplash.
I tried, damn it.
We'll get you in on the next one. It's fine. Did we find the toenail for Bailick? Actually, yes, we did. We managed to get it back, and then he threw it out after we'd gotten back and after he'd lost it in my car. Asshole.
Right. Bailick is asshole.
He is asshole. I want you to know. Okay, so let me recap the story for you, Polly, because I don't know how much of it you're aware of. I had to take my roommate, the one that lives right there. I had to take him to the hospital because he couldn't walk because he'd had an ingrown toenail to the point where it was impossible. Like, it was bleeding and it would not have come out. Anyway, so I drive him to the hospital and we go to immediate care, not emergency care, right? And so I drive him to the hospital and we're sitting there and they tell him, oh yeah, we don't have the qualifications to take this out, so you have to go to the ER instead.
We don't have the qualifications
to remove this toenail. Can you believe that? Anyway, so they walk him over to the ER, which is like less than 200 feet away. And I'm sitting there in the waiting room watching all of the Hallmark holiday movies and just waiting and writing my thesis and whatnot. And he eventually comes out and he holds up this little baggie with his toenail in it. And he said the only reason that he got his toenail was because he asked, was because I was not allowed to take home my appendix when it got taken out of me. So he only did that to rub it in. And then he lost the goddamn thing in my car. As if...
So it's in there somewhere?
No. He found it again, but
okay.
It was out of the bag rolling around in my car. Yeah. And then he found it, and then he threw it away. But he only did that to spite me. Some next level shit, man.
That's gross. That's just gross. It's
a little bit gross. But, sacrifices we make for friends, I guess, to have them. not
Yeah.
for them necessarily.
Have you? Who is it? Hold on, let me just get the chat up here. Over there. Oh, Zombie Teddy said, "Did you get the ugly sweater cozy on your bourbon?" No, that's a bottle of Maker's Mark bourbon, and I am drinking Eagle Rare. Have you seen the Maker's Mark ugly Christmas sweaters?
I have not. I think you're going to show it to me though.
You want to see?
I would love to see it.
They're so awesome. I have 5 from previous years. Like,
you have a problem. Oh, those are proper ugly sweaters.
Oh, come on. Look at it. They got little deer on them and shit. Like, it's so pointless, but I love them so much. I think they're just fantastic.
It's got armholes too.
Yeah, I know. Like, so it's got, and of course, the bottle ain't got no arms, but they're like floppy little arms because it's a sweater, so it has to have arms.
Does it have to have arms though? Does it really?
Well, it's a sweater, you see.
So what do you do with the sweater after, like, Christmas? Do you just take it off the Maker's Mark bottle?
Yeah, and well, what I don't know what other people do with them. I just got them like folded, and they're just sitting there in a stack by a liquor cabinet.
Okay, so what do you do with them after, like, the holiday season? Do they just sit there and collect dust?
I don't know. Isn't that like, okay, Weebo, what do you do with your Christmas sweaters after the holiday season? Do you just let them sit there and collect the? Well, yeah.
Okay, no, hang on. Do you go out and buy a Maker's Mark bottle for like each separate sweater to just dress it in? Have you ever used them after the fact?
Oh yeah, I have. Like, because
okay.
they were I haven't seen them since whenever the fuck I got them. 2 years ago, I think was the last time that I saw them. Maybe they were around last year, but I didn't see them. So when I buy, profuse amounts of Maker's Mark bourbon over the holidays, yeah, you're damn right. As soon as it's the Christmas season, I slip them into their little sweater, because there's something particularly festive and awesome about going into the liquor cabinet, grab my bottle. It's got a little deer stitched ugly Christmas sweater on it when I'm pouring. It's a good thing.
I'm trying to imagine you dressing up your Maker's Mark bourbon bottles in ugly Christmas sweaters. Just like, Merry Christmas to me. Oh, what a jovial holiday it is going to be.
Yeah, it's cozy. Like my little otter avatar there. I've gone back to the otter in a blanket because it's so fucking cold, man.
It really is. Ooh. And you know what? Okay, low-key, I would like to see some fan art of Polly doing his Maker Mark sweater Christmas tradition thing. Please and thank you. Someone in the chat, make that happen.
Well, I mean, what Far did in previous years do a Christmas card that has an otter, not so much hugging a bottle, but like laying over top of it, sort of drunk and depressed. And he's got a Santa hat on. It's great. I'm a fan.
The otter is good. How did that even come about? I'm curious.
I forget. It's largely Far's idea. It's one of those organic things. I don't know, like the Minions of the Zoo. Yeah. Everyone was picking an animal. And I thought, is a honey badger good? Everyone hates on the honey badger. And then I was like, what about an otter? And I never really thought about otters like before in my life. I'm not one of the like cutesy fur-bearing forest animal lover types.
Well, now you are.
Well, yeah.
And
yeah. Well, and then I went and like looked at otters, and I'm like, oh my god, these are sea doggos. These are like the most playful creatures ever. They refuse to not be in a state of constant play. It's hilarious to me. And they got like little mustaches, and they make hilarious dolphin-like squeaky noises. They're
a great time.
Yeah, otters rock pretty hard.
Hello, everyone in chat. This is Kyle. Has especially made a point to say hello to you and myself, Polly.
Well, hello.
Mm-hmm. And then also, someone asked, and we should probably address this.
Yeah.
Where did it go? Why is this conversation being streamed? Because it is.
Oh, that's a.
Why are you watching?
That is actually a really good question, honestly. It's like you could ask that a Monkey or Sinatra, or when I do Noir Bar, why are you guys streaming this? Or Comic Book Curation?
There's no real purpose. It's just we want to have a conversation, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
What kills me is the difference between a podcast and a stream. That distinction that gets made kills me, because people that are streamers are usually not really deep into the podcast world, and vice versa.
Yeah.
It fascinates me that people can make a living by being podcasters. I don't understand how. How do you make your money?
People
and
like
podcasters are. I'm sorry?
People just like to listen to other people, you know, whether it be comedy or storytelling or just politics or just us.
Yeah.
They do.
And that's I like podcasts for that very reason. I don't know a lot of people. They're definitely out there that watch both, listen to both, video podcasts or just audio ones, and then streams. But a bunch of the podcasters I've listened to, I've told this to other people, they have no idea about the streaming world. They're like, oh, and now is the time in our podcast when we'll do audience Q&A. And I got asked, do you ever upload videos to YouTube? And repeatedly, all the podcasters have said, I don't know anything about that world. I don't know how to upload videos. I mean, I've been to YouTube a couple of times. I just don't know how to do that. And it's like, do you realize that there's an entire market that you're completely ignoring? Like, you've already got it finished, like the product. You just have to figure out how to upload it to the platform.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. You know, and in some cases they're video podcasts. So it's like you have a complete stream ready to go with video and all. And the only thing stopping you is figuring out how to create a YouTube account. It blows my mind. And they successfully make a career out of podcasting. I don't know how they get paid. And by the same token, they have no idea how streamers get paid.
Well, I would assume it has something to do with, you know, some combination of sponsorships, you know, crowdfunding, maybe the odd advertisement, selling your merch. I know my dad subscribes to the Limbaugh letter, and so that's probably another way. Yeah, he does.
He's a Rush guy, is he?
He is, and I can't listen to Rush. I cannot listen to that man's voice. I don't know what it is, but maybe it's just, you know, trauma from my early childhood, because he's been listening to the guy for ages. I just cannot. I cannot. And he always tells me, he says, you should, Weebo, you should listen to Rush Limbaugh. You know, he's got some really good opinions about politics. And I'm just like, nope, not that voice.
Can you imagine? Well, let me say it differently. I can't imagine tuning in to listening to Rachel Maddow talking for 2 hours every day on her thoughts on the world and them goddamn Republicans and Donald Trump and his blah. And by the same token, I don't want to listen to Rush either. I can't do it.
Well, before we get into the next conversation topic, transition.
Sweet.
Thank you, Lion Patriot, for the $4 over on the Streamlabs. Weebo, have you had the chance to yell at Canada for me? Oh my God. I am having an abysmal time reading today. Them frostbitten rascals need to keep their cold air to themselves. I don't think we have the Canadians to blame for that. I think that's just the natural order of things. And hence, you should probably take your anger and redirect it from the Canadians and possibly direct it in the direction of Mother Nature? Cool. Question mark?
Did you just tell me to be angry at God?
Yes, be angry at God and or whatever deity it is that you blame for the weather. And
goddamn Demeter.
Blame the universe for having established itself as so.
Stupid Persephone.
Damn it.
Going to the underworld and eating pomegranates or whatever the fuck it is you did, you dumb bitch.
You jest. You're jesting right now. But I want you to know there are legitimately people out there that celebrate the Greek pantheon, apparently. No, I'm sorry, not just the Greek pantheon, the Roman pantheon, right? And so instead of celebrating like holiday, Christmas, Kwanzaa, whatever the fuck, right? It's Saturnalia or something. It's like the Roman tradition to honor Jove, or in this case, or no, not Jove. Fuck. Saturn, I think. Yeah, Saturn.
Yes, Saturn.
But like, people do it legitimately. So you're joking, but you were probably insulting their entire religious belief.
Well, hold on, I had to put that into chat as I had to quote. You jest. You're jesting right now. That made my night. That was good.
But no, you have to include the but because there's context that follows. It's important, Polly.
Which thou sayest with irony, I say with conviction.
Conviction, I say.
I don't know. Inquisitor, one of the guys that do one of the co-hosts comic book curation, he's got some strong opinions on this, on practicing, quote, dead religions that you can't if there's no, I don't know. He's quiz. He's got some strong opinions on shit.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, now I can't do a super cool second camera view like Weebs does, but over on the Streamlabs, Lion Patriot, thank you very much. Pennies for Polly. Oh, they're all appreciated. Thank you, Lion Patriot. I don't know. It's if a guy is on a desert island and therefore like marooned, and therefore he's the only one practicing a religion, does it make it less of a religion? I wouldn't say so.
So my issue isn't with people practicing polytheism or dead religions just because they believe in them, right? My issue is with people that are probably only practicing them to be edgy or to be counterculturist,
Thank you.
Like, practice whatever religion you goddamn well, please, but make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. Like, because it helps me sleep at night and reconcile my fleeting existence in this world, and the inevitable passing on into the afterlife that I and everyone that I love will inevitably do, and it curbs my existentialism and all that jazz. And I'm getting into a really fun topic, but
no, just really quick, I love Ryan Walters' comment. Weebo's receiving bribes from Big Maple.
No, you can't prove anything. I don't like maple syrup. It's tolerable, but not tempting enough for me.
Big Maple. Okay. You can always go to exemplars of particular things like that. It's like you can't practice a dead religion, and Quiz gets so overexcited about it that I just leave it alone, and I go, yeah, because I know what he's talking about. He's talking about sort of what you, in my impression, were getting at. People that do, I do Wiccan stuff. And when you ask for a description of their Wiccan stuff, from every single person, it's a little bit different. There is no unified belief system. And that's not to say everybody that practices Christianity is the obvious one to name because it's sort of here. They're not all practicing Christianity in the same way. They don't have the particular same practice, but there's a unified worldview. There's a range and a great number of core items that you can name off that they all would all accept as the case. When it comes to pagan Wiccanism, no, it's a wild different belief, a range of quote unquote beliefs and stuff like that. And it's always mixed up with hokey new age stuff, and power crystals get involved, and fake ass magic spells and runes that are coming from multiple different cultures and in vastly different centuries, but it's all coming under the same name. And people said, well, that's the point of paganism. And it's like, that's a hodgepodge potpourri of bullshit fuckery. Come on.
What's interesting, right, is even back in the day with the polytheistic religions, people would centralize on just the one god and worship that one god, like the cult of Bacchae, right? The cult of Dionysus, specifically revolved around the idea of like rebellion, partying, having a great time and enjoying life to its fullest. That was their belief. They worshipped that god. And so even within the, polytheistic pantheon, you have different sects that break down but have a very core value that they celebrate for the most part. and you can identify that. And then, they have specific traditions regarding that. Whereas what is we're talking about, right, is a whole bunch of people who are just hodgepodging things together left and right, whatever's convenient and whatever's most edgy or relatable or, marketable too, because that's another big element of neo-paganism, I guess you could say.
Listen, just because you can find a bunch of magic wands and power crystals on Etsy and Parker Brothers sells a Ouija board doesn't mean that it's all marketable, Weebo.
Naming an element of paganism that hasn't been marketable. I mean, even in Christian religions, we find things that are marketable. You know how many Christian-oriented stores there are that are solely dedicated to the idea of selling literature on the subject? Trinkets, paraphernalia.
You're not wrong, but by the same token, there's a fuck ton of it where it exists as very little other than the family Bible.
Yeah.
And you can download a free multiple different translations of the Bible as free PDFs online. So do you know what I mean? Like you needn't do it that way if you want to buy a gift for someone. Yeah, you're not wrong though. There's like Catholic bookstores all over the fucking place, and Christian literature in general is like a pretty healthy section of fucking Amazon. I get your point. The Harry Channel, thank you very much for $10, very generous over on Streamlabs. And he says, how is it that your voice is so damn smooth? When I get in front of a mic, I get nervous and sound like Jordan Peterson as if he was kicked in the nuts. Is it just practice makes perfect?
I can most assuredly say it's the alcohol.
Yeah. I have no idea what you mean. Just talking is how it sounds. Well, thank you. That's
I'd like to appreciate that Razabasta said that the stream is not on fire.
It's not on fire, and I actually wanted to mention something he'd said. I think it already scrolled off the screen. Is this just a stream of two people agreeing with each other? Well, it's not my fault that Weebo has good sense and just agrees with what's right.
I mean, if you have an opinion that's alternate to what it is that we're talking about, I'll certainly read it out. You just got to add me, and I will definitely do that.
Well, we could. I mean, Hammer's in chat, and I don't agree with anything that guy says. And it's not because he's a disagreeable person. It's just because he's so fantastically wrong on such a surprising array of things.
Wow, we gotta call him out like that, Polly. What's up?
Well, it's a back and forth thing we do. Like, let me give you an example. So
all right.
There's this, you know, Blind Press.
Yeah.
Okay, Blind Press and Hammer and shit, his name slipped my mind. I can picture him right now. Shit. Anyway, get together and do this Star Trek stream over on Blind Press's channel, and I'm a big fan of Star Trek. And they talk episodes and different stuff like that. And they were doing it yesterday. I think it's at 3 p.m. Eastern, but I couldn't be there because I wasn't even home at that time, and I didn't get back till like hours after it was over. But when I went into Discord, there was the link that they had, you know, if you'd like to come by, you should come by. And I missed doing it. I'd like to come by. But this Hammer just says, "Hey, moron, get your ass in here." And then there was the link. Like that's his generous welcoming right there.
Well, that's cute. I'm glad that you guys have a bromance that's that solid.
I wouldn't I wouldn't not assume there isn't a genuine contempt underlying it somewhere.
No, but that's the part of the bromance that makes it so magical. All friendships have a little element of just, you know, or they should at least, to keep them healthy.
Pincalo, who's Blind Press's husband, says, and you were supposed to be on yesterday, 5 p.m. Eastern. Multiple exclamation marks. Yeah, I said if I could, I would. And I even watched the 3 episodes. They're doing it's all about the faves. Like previously, it's all about the 2-parters, where there's like numerous 2-parters throughout all the series of Trek, and went over those. And now we're doing like your faves. You pick 3 favorites, and Blind Press picked 3 favorites from Deep Space Nine. And I watched all of them in prep, but unfortunately, wasn't able to be there, and that's too bad.
I'm going to interject for a hot second to do this. Hello, everybody. Thank you from Big Maple, who donated $1 to say, we have not had now nor previously paid Ms. Jones for any marketing. We believe that having Starbucks surprise her by switching pumpkin spice for maple nut crunch coffee.
Is that an actual kind of coffee, maple nut crunch?
I've never seen it. I don't know if we sell it or if we've ever sold it, but I'm pretty sure it can be for the right price.
Wow.
Oh, I wanna address something in the chat. Rezabast also said, I sub to Weebo because I enjoy her produced videos. I don't know what this shit is. Well, the idea is basically just cocktail hour where we get together, we have a nice conversation about what the fuck ever. That's literally it. If you don't want just off the cuff conversational type content, you don't have to stay. I'm not gonna make you, but I will still produce political content, funny videos. You know, this is the other half of the channel that, you know, I also enjoy doing because I like the prepared stuff, but I also like the not so prepared stuff because this can go anywhere, which is why I like it.
And it's
fucking right in the pussy.
Can you not? See, I told you it can go anywhere.
Wow, all the freshest references.
Oh my god.
It's okay, Polly. Dax didn't show up either until late. Apparently, he bumped on Doomed for me. Well, I feel. Should I feel bad about that, or should I feel complimented by that? I'm going to go with complimented.
That works. Okay, so but like back to the conversation about polytheism and neo-pagan stuff, because I feel like that could go several different directions, right?
Yeah.
Do you feel like proportionally most of the Wiccan aspects of, or the how do I put this? Most of neo-paganism, Wiccan stuff, whatever, is more for the purpose of marketing than it is to actually be for worshiping or for practice? Because, I don't know. Did I phrase that correctly? Does that make sense what I'm trying to ask?
Jan would like to know why you look like Greta Thunberg today. Ouch.
Why?
Ouch.
Why? Okay, because I wore this
Saucy.
hat and I had a braid and I posted a picture on Twitter yesterday, I think it was, and someone made the same parallel comparison, and I honestly don't know why, because Greta has the double braid and she doesn't wear a hat, whereas I have the single braid and I'm wearing a hat, and I definitely do not look like I have fetal alcohol syndrome, people. Come on.
Whoa. Spicy.
I know. Is it because I look Eastern European-ish? Maybe. Where's Greta from?
Sweden.
Sweden. All right, so maybe like northern Eastern. Where is Sweden? I know where Sweden is. But would you say that's like Eastern? Northern?
No, well, hey, you already heard my opinion. I think you look like a Swiss mountaineering mistress. Like you work in a chalet.
Thanks.
Chalet. You know, chalet, see? Pronunciating letters that aren't supposed to be said. It's like going to a depot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yeah, you get it.
I do. Okay. Great Smithsonian says, again, conflating Wicca with other neo-pagan belief system is a mistake and shows a fundamental misunderstanding of the whole thing. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on alternative religion, I guess, is what we'll call it, just to give it a broad kind of, because the two things, Wicca and neo-pagan, I guess, are kind of synonymous in my brain, the way that I've understood them. Of course, like I said, I am not an expert in the subject, so I'm only coming from the perspective that I'm familiar with, not from the perspective of someone who genuinely knows what they're talking about. Just anything that I've ever been exposed to regarding, you know, Wicca, I guess, has always been with the purpose of marketing to you and doing it because fuck the Christians or whatever. At least the people that I've interacted with.
Okay, well, I feel that we really quick. You asked me some questions, and then I started saying some things, and the nature of drunken conversation, or at least tipsy conversation.
Yes.
Is that lines of thought are started and then go nowhere. And then
Yes.
the subjects are quickly changed and so forth. You asked why an otter. Everybody in the Minions of the Zoo. Remember that all the way back there?
Oh, I remember that. That was a thing that we did.
Yeah. Okay. The real quick, super short answer to that is everybody in the Minions of the Zoo picked an animal avatar. At one point, mine ended up being an otter because it was just an organic thing that came out, and Far drew a really adorable otter. And I'm like, I loved it. And it was an angry otter in the middle of a rant. And I'm like, I really like that. That's hilarious. And then thus from there. And this little avatar is one of Far's pieces of art put over I forget where I got that background picture of an animal huddled. Oh, it's a cat that was originally huddled in that picture. And I stuffed one of Far's otter heads in there and put a shadow on his face. So it looked like he was, because it's so cold here right now. And then secondarily, the Harry channel, I never even answered the question from that donation. It's like, is it just practice that why you sound like you sound? Partially, not enough though. Not enough practice is what I mean. Trying to do live reads on my channel, which I do because I enjoy doing them, from the Screw Tape Letters and American Psycho so far. If you go over my channel, you'll see them there if you're interested in something like that. I've realized I need some like actual formal voice training. When you listen to people that like Drunken Uncle, who has had formal training and has had actual practice, and you realize the kind of breath control and voice control that he has, it's the difference between listening to him on a stream. Like I've been on streams with him, like with on different things, but then several times recently with Sinatra. And then when the stream's over, you know, Sinatra's hit the end stream button. It's like a switch that's been clicked off, and he's not the same guy anymore. Well, yeah, it's a very sharpened skill set that he has. It's time to go on stage, turn the switch on. He's now Drunken Uncle. Afterwards, his cadence and the speed that he talks with and the tone of his voice and everything completely changes. He's really talented at what he fucking does. And it makes you think, when you're somebody who's like, oh, I'm doing these live reads and it's all easy, and not easy, but all you got to do is get in front of a mic and talk. No, I'm beginning to realize, just trying to do it, that there is some serious talent at it. The practice that I've had has been in teaching classes, TAing, and multiple public speaking things at academic conferences and things like that. So I've had talking in front of crowds, but that's not the same thing as the skill set that actors have, if you know what I mean. And I think there's a hell of a lot that I could learn, is what I'm saying, because I'm listening to different voice actors and realizing these people have a very serious skill set. So yes, practice, but there's something to be said for training as well, in a big way, I think.
So Polly, what I'm hearing from you is that, guys, you should totally donate to the cause to get Polly some vocal training. His Streamlabs is linked in the description. You can find it there. Enjoy, throw money at him so that he can get the vocal training necessary to make better content.
I would like to make better content. And before we get away from the Greta Thunberg thing too far, that I was trying to do some Photoshop-y stuff when I got home last night.
Yeah.
Well, Ryan Walters said, Polydub, is he though? Falsetto. That he can go falsetto. I mean, when I try to talk high, I sound like this. And when I try to talk low, I sound like I have no range. That man has range, and it's trained. You know what I mean? Like Prince, the singer, for example, can sing super high soprano all the way down to baritone. That's trained in practice dynamic range, and it's amazing. And I don't want to be able to sing, but when reading fiction, like live reads that I have on my channel, having to be able to do a female voice and then a male voice, and there's 3 characters interacting, and make each one of them sound a little bit different so the reader picks up on it. That's a talent, man. That's a talent. But so Greta Thunberg, I was doing some photoshopping, and I was listening to Tucker Carlson, because he's just funny. He's a really good writer, and his show is just largely written by him in the comments. And he's talking about how CNN is doing a puff piece hagiography, basically, on a woman by the name of Claire McCaskill. And I had to write this quote and put it into Discord, because it's goddamn the sarcasm, man. CNN would like you to know that Claire McCaskill lives at the exact other end of the moral spectrum of most people in Washington, among the sainted, somewhere between Gandhi and your average Swedish climate activist, right in there. It's like,
That's
damn,
like,
Tucker.
I don't know how anyone can come back from that, Polly. Whew.
That's Tucker's got the sauce, man. It was good. So, back to the fraud that is neo-paganism. Yes.
Okay, so I just want to like clarify something, right? Paganism has to do with anything that's not strictly Catholic, right? At least
Well,
the traditional definition, right? Hang on, let me double check.
I do remember watching a documentary where there is a academic out of Duke, I believe is where she's at, and she studies first century Judea, both Christianity and Judaism and the Hellenistic religious traditions that are going on there at the time.
Yeah.
And she made this funny summation. She goes, see, we use the word paganism, but for our uses here, when we say paganism, we're basically referring to everything the Jews weren't doing, which is a hell of a lot of other things and the majority of people, just so we can be clear.
Well, okay,
yeah,
so the way that I
fair enough.
understood it, it was, and the definition is kind of in line with what it is that I was thinking it was. Paganism is a term first used in the 4th century by early Christians for people in the Roman Empire who practiced polytheism. So that's my understanding. Whereas Wicca, if I look it up, and I'm going to do it, just so that we have some working definitions, is also termed pagan witchcraft, is a modern pagan religion. So Wicca would be within the scope of paganism in what it is that I am understanding.
Fair enough.
Okay. So now that we have like this basis for what it is that we mean, we can continue this conversation.
Well, you get in that mix is also going to be Satanism and satanic worship. And there's people that are into occult things generally, like your Styx and Hammer 666s, for example.
Yes.
He will say, I've watched in a number of his videos, he'll reference Satanism. He goes, but I'm not talking about the popular San Francisco Satanism of Anton LaVey. I mean more of a pagan occult version. There's always a distinct lack of description and detail because I think there is a generalized lack of detail underlaying it all. You ask 5 people and you'll get 5 different answers. I think that there is a lack of worldview that underlay it. I would like to hear it generalized. What underlay it? It's like what? There's a physical and spiritual world.
Like what are the specific rules that outline exactly what goes into your specific sect of this religion, right? Or not even specific sect, but just this religion.
Yeah.
Because paganism is very broad. It means several different orientations. Wicca is a little bit more specific. It's like witchcraft. Satanism is a little bit more specific. Let's do Satanism.
I mean, I know I could describe the metaphysical worldview of Christianity and how it's similar and differs from Islam and how it's similar and differs from Judaism. And at the very least, the 2 types of Buddhism that I'm most familiar with out of Japan, I could describe their generalized worldviews. Jainism, I could as well. Zoroastrianism, I could as well. But when it comes to something that comes up as often as paganism, it would be like, what? There are seen and unseen forces in the world. The universe is made up of non-physical forces. Human beings can influence the world. Like, I'm trying to be as general as I can, and it's tough to say anything about it. Like, it's like y'all can cast spells, and sometimes they believe in low magic. Very rarely have I ever heard a high magic description. Like, you know the difference between low magic and high magic? Like,
no, I have absolutely no idea.
It's low magic would be like a spell to make someone fall in love with you, and it would take like 2 days to get it right. You know, it would require like a long ritualized endeavor. I mean, that's not meant to be an exact definition. It's just to give you an idea. And high magic would be what you see in Harry Potter. So somebody goes oogity boogity and instantly someone will be turned into a frog or whatever the fuck. Like it's you know, super huge things as opposed to subtle little effects that take longer and stuff like that, like high magic versus low magic. Again, bad loose definition, but just to get the idea out there. I mean, because you'll see like 500 witches get together in Times Square to curse Donald Trump, and it's like that's a kind of quote low magic. Of course, what they're doing is complete bullshit because if they curse Donald Trump so he wouldn't win the election, shit, can you come curse me?
So Great Smith. Fuck, this wine is hitting me already, Polly. Great Smithsonian says describing it all as paganism is like complaining Islam, Christianity, Judaism all at once. These are very disparate tribal and cultural beliefs. Yes, but they all are grounded in the same thing. That's why we call them the Abrahamic religions, is because we actually do have a generalizing term for all three of those. Whereas paganism is just if you believe in, multiple gods, I guess, is the definition that we looked up and we found. Or boy, oh boy. But yeah, that counter doesn't seem like necessarily something that is strong enough to counter what it is that we're trying to get at here.
You've referenced a number, okay, because we're talking really loose things, and
we're not being very specific at all.
Yeah, so we're fucking up here basically. But in our defense, it's inherent when it comes to paganism because of the lack of detail that comes from the people that supposedly practice these things. Like I said, it's mixed up New Age stuff, and it's like, wait a minute, if you're a Wiccan, a modern day Wiccan or whatever, why are you fucking around with like New Age 1970s Age of Aquarius power crystals? That's some extremely modern shit. And they're like, well, that's the neo-paganism. Again, it sounds like fuckery gumbo. It just sounds like you've mixed a whole lot of shit together and you're calling it a thing. And it's really just, you made it up largely. You're picking and choosing what you like.
Maybe it's just that the advocates for what is paganism or what is these specific sects of religions aren't exactly doing their due diligence and getting the word out there as to what it is that they're all about. Maybe that's the issue that we're having here, and it's not necessarily that we're just being willfully ignorant or
what, that's possible. It's like extremely anecdotal, and the people that I've encountered just happen to be far from ideal representatives of the thing. It's just like, yeah.
Wiccans are idiots, he says. They're basically combining everything together because they think it's all the same thing. Okay. So Wiccans are like the poly-socialist, gay, trans, black, self-identifying Islam, the every liberal man type.
Uh-huh.
The hodgepodge of just all of the different labels that you could possibly want for oppression points.
And they relate to this. How?
I was just saying Wiccans are those people.
Oh, I see.
They're taking from all of these different schools in an effort to have the best of all of the worlds.
Yeah. Well, that I understand what you mean now by like the hodgepodge of things. To be a little bit more particular, one thing that I have noticed that does seem to be replete within the thing, whenever describing it, I end up hearing from people that which it is not, and it exists in contrast to established religious traditions of organized religion anyway. Like you said, there's an edginess to it that comes up a lot. Not always for those who are devotees of such practice, but there's no denying where it's why do you feel the need to put your Baphomet statue right next to the crucifix or whatever the fuck, like like why would an upside down crucifix be a thing to you? I don't understand. I've never seen a Christian want to like display like an upside down goat-headed Semitic god to like stick it to the man, you know what I mean? There's an edginess and a teenage emo fuckery that goes along with a lot of it, but maybe that's just because it's edgy emo teens that I'm hearing mention these things. I don't know.
Because I know Styx, Hex, and Hammer is a little bit more specific about what it is that he believes, right?
Sadly, no. In my opinion. Yeah, he writes a lot of occult literature, and I've read a couple of them. Well, let me say that again. He largely edits and sometimes writes a lot of occult literature, all available over on his Amazon page. And whenever he talks about it, it is amazingly non-descriptive and not specific. I always look forward to him being more specific, and he never is. He has occult videos where he'll put out like his political commentary videos, 3 or 4 a day. And every second or third day, one of them will be occult video number 539, and he just numbers them in sequence. And every one of them is just, so, oh, today I'd like to talk about synchronicity. Today I'd like to talk about negative chaotic magic. And his description of it is like, what? I mean, I remember the chaotic magic thing one time. Because I think that I'm involved in chaotic low magic when I'm doing my editing process, and he talks in circles, kind of like we're doing right now. Is
he sober or is he drunk when he's doing it? Because at least we have
sober. He's stone sober. Okay. And he talks in, because the guy is tangential. It's just part of his style. He's able to turn the camera and mic on and just go. Okay. So he talks for about 5-8 minutes, whatever, and eventually gets back to him. What he's describing as chaotic magic and believing that he's involved in it is when he's editing some new work. He said, I have no doubt, and when I'm done this video, I'm going to get back to the book that I'm editing right now. And I am certain that I'm going to think of things and be reminded of things that I have written on previously, and there will be alignments and consistency with what I have written and thought of before. And I was just like, really? Your chaotic magic is
just going to align itself up all willy-nilly like?
Well, yeah. Tell me how that's different from simple coincidence. And I'm not trying to be an asshole, a judgmental prick when it comes to sticks. It's like, I'm waiting to hear the details of this man, because what you just described to me could easily be described as simple coincidence. Wow, you're writing about occult literature and you find similarities between different works that you've written. I would hope so. I would hope that every one of them wouldn't be dramatically different. I'm not trying to go for a strict materialist, anti-spiritualist point of view here. It just, all you described to me was coincidence, man. I encounter coincidences through my day. Is that an aspect of chaotic magic taking place?
Oh, did you hear that?
No.
It just snapped. Okay, no, I have this thing called shoulder laxity, so my shoulder doesn't quite fit in the socket all that well. And every once in a while, it'll dislocate, and I'll have to readjust it. And I just readjusted it, and it snapped, which doesn't do that very often. And it sounded like it should hurt, but it doesn't hurt. And so now I'm worried because maybe something's wrong. Anyway.
Well, Jan makes a good point. His video endings always give me anxiety. That's about all. Yeah, it is, Jay, you're right. Jan, it's so abrupt. It's just, I have passed the mark that I want to meet. To his credit, it's not always the 10-minute mark for algorithm satisfaction, if you know what I mean. People say get to 10 minutes for your videos to be recognized in the algorithm and promoted. Sometimes you'll end it at 7. Usually he does get to the 10 or 12 or 14-minute mark, though, but just suddenly, and that's about all. Peace out. And then turns the video off. It's like, wow, that was abrupt. And it's always that solidly abrupt. It's wild. Ryan Walters says, it's like post-comedy. I don't know if I'd go that far. That's mean, man. Remember post-comedy, Weebo?
What is post-comedy? Actually, I don't know.
Remember that?
Is that like when it's, no longer funny, it's just real-world nonsense that's depressing and... Like,
yes, you nailed it. That Australian comedian,
yes,
the female, just... And what gave you the right to attack and rape me? She's yelling at her.
Well, why call it
attackers while on stage?
Really just, spoken word poetry at that point, right? We already have a name for that. You don't have to retitle it and then pretend like, oh, it's the funnies for realties, though.
I never looked very far in. I never did look very far into it. I'm not sure if she gave it that name. I have a very strong suspicion that it wasn't her. It was critics that wanted to like it and just gave it a name. It's like post-comedy,
It's what happens after things are no longer funny. Like, yes. I can tell you what happens after things are no longer funny. People stop paying attention to them. The joke is no longer funny. Ergo, you stop making the joke. Ergo, we stop talking about it. If it were post-comedy, we wouldn't be talking about it. So I don't think that's the correct word for this.
Yeah. I think it was a critic's position looking to write it up and explain how a woman handling in public on stage what she should be handling in therapy. And I'm not saying you need therapy, lady. Well, you do seem extremely angry, and that looked more like a public catharsis than it did a comedic routine.
Yeah, never do the catharsis in public. It's not going to go over well for you.
It went great for her. Shit.
Oh, okay. I will contend that sometimes having a rage fest, like for instance, Ranting Monkey's entire existence, right, on the internet at
Right.
A thing that pisses you off, definitely is going to help things, especially in the marketing department, because people like a good rage fest, but don't do so personally. Like, don't have a personal rage fest. Have a general rage fest. And you can make it funny.
Yeah.
But you don't want to make it too personal. You do not want to make it too personal.
Yeah, and she certainly went there. Postmodern comedy, exactly. Just weirdo stuff that's all about deconstructions of systems of power. That's what it is, blah, blah, blah.
Speaking of deconstructions of systems of power, Polly, you're in university currently, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, not the same level as me, but you're still in university. Do you guys still get the slight exposure to that nonsense? Let's deconstruct this power dynamic, or let's analyze this power structure, or let's talk about let's discuss the propagation of a colonial convention within the realms of basket weaving underwater.
Absolutely, of course.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
You still do?
Oh, of course. More so.
Oh.
More so. Way more so than I did in undergrad. Yeah. I kind of like the way that it played out.
Yeah.
My educational path. If you want to go on to something in your master's and PhD, or just grad school in general, because lots of people do a combined master's and PhD, do your undergrad in something different. God, I'm so glad I didn't go poli-sci undergrad, poli-sci master's, poli-sci doctorate. Jesus, I did way too much.
Wait, you can do different ones?
I did.
So,
yeah, of course you can. Yeah.
If I'm getting a psych and computer science undergrad, bachelor's degree, right?
Mm-hmm.
I could go on and get a master's in archaeology.
Of course. Now, with that said,
it'd be difficult, right?
No, for me, no, not for me. And it depends on how you go about it, right? Let's say that I decided to do, what's something I've never studied, like computer science. Okay, let's say I want to do my master's degree in computer science. I had better have done some serious independent research on my own, because you have to convince a master's program to accept you. You have to apply, right? And I'm not sure how an application goes in computer science or whatever, but I know in psychology and psychology, philosophy, sociology, political science, English. They're all the same way. You have to present your research initiative. What is it you want to write your thesis on? What is it you want to direct? Why do you want us to, what is your statement of intent? They often ask for. The application process for grad school is often extremely involved. Every application that I did for both master's and then PhD programs were incredibly involved. And your letters of recommendation are super key, because that's when the professors that write your letters of recommendation, or whoever you get to write them, says, this person is great for this program because of reasons A, B, and C, and, blah, blah, blah. So I came from philosophy. I did a double major in philosophy and psychology, but those were the main areas of study. And for my additional courses, it was history courses and political science courses and things of that nature. So I could make the argument in my application for my master's as to why I belong there. And my research proposal was interesting enough, I guess.
They accepted you.
Yeah. For my master's program, I got accepted to 4 programs, but only 2 with scholarships. And so I took one of the 2 with scholarships. And then for my PhD, was not in the same exact field. It wasn't like my master's wasn't poli-sci proper, but my doctorate is. And so now I was switching departments yet again. And all 3 programs I applied to, I got offered a scholarship and a stipend. And I just picked the one that I thought was best. Yeah.
That's fair. Okay. So if I did want to go on to do something, and get a master's degree or
go to town. You can absolutely do that.
Well,
yeah.
Not that
if
I
you
would
want,
want to, but I don't have to stick to just what it is that I got, in my undergrad. I did not know that. It always seemed like you were supposed to. Like I was limited by the scope of what it is that I have majors in. And now
as long as you could, you've taken courses in archaeology, no?
Oh, yes. A lot.
And you've traveled to archaeological places and stuff like that. You could, I'm not trying to make it sound like it's falling off a log easy, but all of the pieces are there for you to put together a really strong application for grad school in archaeology. Absolutely. And you use your brain power words, or as Lion Patriot described them, fancy book learning words. I love that. To make it sound like whatever it is you were doing before inexorably led you towards what you're doing now. That's the way I wrote it up. Like my research is in political sciences and in national security, specifically the institutions of intelligence.
Yeah.
And my case study more often than not is CIA. And how do you think I wrote that up? I used like the psych background, and I'm like, institutional psychology and group dynamics work according to theories that are promulgated and studied throughout industrial and organizational psychology. And my background in this gives me a unique position to be able to. You see what I mean? It's part of the academic game you play.
Well, actually, it would be relatively easy for me to actually. I just said actually twice. It would be easy for me to apply my senior thesis for psychology to, an application to grad school, because it's on moral foundations and their evolution into political orientations. And what does archaeology have if not a lot of, evolutionary stuff and, primary sources regarding politics and all that jazz? And I'm just like, oh. But I don't actually want to do that necessarily. I want to go into the professional field. I want to utilize my computer science degree. I want to make the big bucks. I don't want to go back to school quite yet.
Learn to code, people.
Learn to code. It's not as easy as it looks, okay? There's a lot.
I like the call back from Daniel Foam. He's like whispering, Polly made Weebo scratch her head again.
That actually triggered something. I actually felt like I had to scratch for no reason other than because you said that. So stop it. It's not funny.
Far and I were watching 70s commercials again because we're on and we get a laugh out of it. And those commercials keep coming up. The Head and Shoulders commercials from the 70s. And they're all, like I told you, they're all based around the same plot. People's thoughts are heard like as internal monologues, like narratives of what they're thinking. So man walks in the office and it's his first day at work, and this woman walks by and goes, wow, he's cute. And the guy thinks, wow, she's really attractive. And then he scratches his head and goes, but he scratched his head. He probably has dandruff. He probably doesn't take very good care of himself. And it's like, do you have dandruff problems? Well, you should try Head and Shoulders and blah, blah, blah.
Last week.
And it's every time there's the woman scratching her head, it's become a thing for Far and I to go, it's Weebo. It's 70s Weebo.
That's not funny, people. All right. Before we continue on, thank you to Lion Patriot for the 99 cents over on the super chats, and then the face. I see the emoji. I read the emoji as face. And then John Woodruff for the $5. All right. Has anyone asked what the hell kind of job are you chasing? I think that was directed at me, right?
I think so.
Regarding my computer science and psychology.
Woodruff asked, tipped you to ask. So I think it's all you weebs.
So my advisor has currently said that I would be good at consulting in the tech industry. So that would mean that I am essentially that person between the super techie speak persons and the lay persons who have no idea what techie speak means. I am the person that bridges that divide, because I don't know if you've ever talked with somebody who has a modicum of knowledge of things like operating systems and data processing and data mining and all of the jazz, right? You've asked them to explain to them exactly, or that you've asked them to explain to you exactly what it is that's going on, and they, there's just, you have no idea what's going on. You would be that layperson that I am translating the text speak into layperson speak for. And then I'm like the go-between person, because I know enough about computer science to actually be able to translate exactly what's going on and why it benefits the customer and why it would be, preferable to this other option that we could do. And, if we have certain trade-offs, like with processing speed versus processing power that it takes, I can explain why this is the case. And then I can take whatever it is that the layperson wants and I can relay it back to the techie people who are doing all of the back-end programming and stuff. So that's one option.
Mm-hmm.
The other option is data mining, which sounds bad, but I've discovered that I actually quite like being able to take all of these different variables, pre-process them down into like ones and zeros, numbers and digits and values that can then be standardized and then put into a linear regression model to exact an amount and tell you a thing about all of these data points. It's really nerdy. I'm sorry.
I would just
know.
I have a suggestion.
Yes.
Have a business card that says Weebo Jones Computer Consulting, and then on the right side of the business card, all that jazz in nice font.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which font are we doing? Like the Betty Noir that I showed you?
No, I think it should be a tech-oriented font. And then they'll get it from the shape of the font. It's like all that jazz, and it's in computer-esque font, so it makes people think, oh, she does all that computer jazz.
What if, all right, just hear me out.
Mm-hmm.
What if it was in wingdings?
Don't ever put wingdings on your business card. Like, unless you're a professional clown or something.
Polydub, don't ever put wingdings on your business card. 2019. I want that.
Well, that's a highly quotable. That's just good life advice. You keep your hands off the burner, don't spit into the wind, and don't put wingdings on your business cards. It's
the wine is Barefoot Riesling, just in case you were curious. People questioning about that.
Sweet German. Well, it's not necessarily German, but
it's from California.
Well, fair enough. It's Rieslings and Gewürztraminers I always associate with the Alsatian region. God, wine people are pretentious, and that's me saying that. Fuck me, man. They're just awful.
John Woodruff said, oh my God, find a company that has one doing it and talk to them first. Don't believe a college counselor. It's not my counselor, it's my professor. So not necessarily someone who's never actually worked in the field, but she is currently on sabbatical doing research for I actually don't know what she's doing research for, but she's in the field itself and she's got a number of contacts. She's had a number of students go on to bigger and better things after school. So, not the only opinion that I'm getting, but one that I do value in terms of where it is that I'm going to go from now on. But yeah, I do think that because of my background, not just with psychology, but also with explaining things to dum-dums who don't know what code is, because I do have background doing that. I was a camp counselor for a tech camp as well for kids, so I was explaining in the most layman's of terms exactly how to do Java coding for an entire summer. And we had some really good products.
Java is so 2002 weebs.
Yeah, Python's the new Java. Don't you know that? Actually, no, Java's really good for app development, but Python is a little bit better for anything that you want to do statistics-wise. So I have both of those.
So the are you interested in a hard gear shift topic change?
Absolutely, give it to me.
Okay, so you watched Casablanca for the first time.
Yes, that's right. We were going to talk about this. Okay, all right. I have opinions.
I sensed a distinct lack of excitement when you were DMing me about it. What's your problem, man?
Okay. Let me explain to you. There were a few things, right? The line delivery is very different from what I'm used to nowadays in terms of acting, right? So the way that Casablanca delivered, the way that the actors in Casablanca delivered their lines, it was kind of like more rapid fire, like over rehearsed. Like we know exactly what we're going to do and how it's going to be done, and like we're going to try to emote, but it's not the most important things. It's just let's do this one take straight through. Make sure you have everything memorized, just quick, one after the other. So in that respect, it seemed a little bit ingenuine in terms of delivery. Because I don't know if do you catch what I'm trying to get at, right? Like
okay, well the movie, okay, yes, I do get what you're saying. I mean,
yeah.
Okay, a few things like it. Have you ever seen The Crucible starring acting actor man? What's his name?
Oh, I love acting man.
Acting actor man. Yes, that's what I call him. He's. Hold on.
I don't know. I know I have not.
Someone in chat's gonna know it. Chat's always sharp with this shit. They're gonna be, oh, you mean so and so, and he played Abraham Lincoln in the recent Lincoln film. It's a 1953.
Oh, is it Abraham Lincoln, the Vampire Hunter, the greatest documentary ever written and produced?
No.
I thought it was a great documentary.
See, Daniel Day-Lewis. Daniel Day-Lewis is acting actor man, because everything he says is so insanely over the top. It's so Pizza's acting McActor face. Yeah. He's just and then Angela Duck Dog in next 6 minutes. All got it. Thank you guys. Leave me my name. Like, it's like, holy shit, buddy. Could you be more histrionic in everything? I get it. It's a stage actor's thing. They're not in front of a camera. They're used to over emoting because people up in the balcony have to see what you're doing and hear what you're doing. Mm-hmm. But everything is so belabored and overwrought whenever that guy's on screen. Some people just deliberately overact. There's lots of actors like that. Okay. Mm-hmm. That's the style that a lot of high drama movies have gone into. Movies back then, not so much. I hear what you're saying, and it comes across as ingenuine, but I would think that it's more of a style. Everything is downplayed. Everything is
yes, I did
on a much more subtle level.
I will say that the other thing that I really did like about the movie was every time that they did deliver a line, it was always with like an element of snark, like under the table, like, "Ooh, we're gonna just make the audience chuckle a little bit behind their hand, like, oh, that was quite hilarious. I got that," That I did enjoy. I liked that element of Casablanca. So maybe the marriage of those two aspects kind of contradicted each other, and made it so that it wasn't horrible either way, or overwrought one way versus horrible the other way. But it was off-putting to me because I'm not used to that kind of a style, and so to have experienced it for the first time was slightly jarring, because I am used to people emoting a little bit more and putting a little bit more of themselves into the delivery of a line. So that's there was that one.
You didn't. If there's anybody who stands out as Paul Henreid, who plays Victor, he's Il Salon's husband, the underground Nazi fighter. The man is
the man who was in the concentration camps.
That's him, Victor Laszlo.
Yeah,
he's ridiculously wooden. And he goes, "I love you very much, my dear," then he puffs on his cigarettes, and it's like, oh, I felt that red hot passion, man. Holy shit, you just got her wet with that shit. Mm-hmm. It's like, I care very much about you, Ilsa. Jesus, man, could you be more of a 2x4? Where Rick, I mean, he's Humphrey Bogart's character. He's just fucking awesome. It's proto noir. He's the world weary, burned by the world, fought on the side of the underdog. But then again, I found that to be a very expensive hobby. Like all of his lines are so snarky. He's so embittered against the world. I just want to run my goddamn saloon. And then all of a sudden, this woman he loved, who burned him above all other things, walks in and say, "In all the gin joints and all the world, why'd she have to walk into mine?" I love that. He's meeting this past woman, and he finds out that this woman he had this great love affair was married the whole time. The lying bitch. It just compounds his anger and bitterness. You know, it's great.
Away from Casablanca is to never trust a dame.
Well, I mean, it's kind of contrived. She thought he was dead too. So
yes, I do recall that. I was there. But they didn't really sell me on the relationship even within when they went into the flashback. It was just kind of a rapid succession of moments within their time together. And there was nothing about either of them that convinced me that they felt anything more for each other than other than, you know, that the plot wills it. Like, I understood why Ilsa had to stay with Victor Laszlo, right? I understand.
Okay.
They're married. He's got a cause. You know, she's in love with that cause. But her and Humphrey Bogart's character, Rick, you know, not so much. There was nothing really substantiating that, and I felt like, you know, I kind of needed that a little bit more.
Well, I don't know. I picked up from it that he loved her because she's smart, she's independent, because he's the kind of guy that he is. He needs a woman that can keep up with him and trade barbs with him and be at least as smart as him, and that's her in a lot of ways. And of course, she's holy shit, it's Ingrid Bergman. She's stunning. You know, you can just
another thing. I didn't think that she was all that stunning. And then no, you're gonna have a hissy fit. I'm sorry.
Goddamn, Weebo. Goddamn.
I'm just disappointing you left and right all the time.
You would make the worst lesbian. You would. The women
Okay, my rating of the movie out of 10 in general, I will say, all things considered, 7 out of 10.
Okay, let me ask you a question. I'm curious.
Yes.
What would you say of like modern films, or actually whatever fucking film, hopefully I've seen it, that there's a romance that's portrayed on screen that's believable, that they sold to you that these two people are in a relationship, not just because the script said so, but because it happened on screen, and oh my God, I totally believe it. And if you name a Disney animated film, I'm going to be really depressed.
No, well, actually, there is one example, but I'm not going to go into it.
Well, I shouldn't be a smart ass like that. Maid Marian and Robin Hood and the animated Robin Hood, that was great.
Well, actually, you know, I come with a few examples. Before I do that, though, I have to do this one thing. Hello, everybody. The next 6 minutes. Thank you for the amount of pie in my Streamlabs. What do World's Greatest Dad, I Heart Fishing, and Weebo Jones have in common? They all look awesome in a coffee mug. Buy this girl's merch. See, she needs those college monies. I love it when you guys shill for me my own stuff to shill. Okay, so examples of cinematic couples that are believable for me. Or does it have to be in cinema specifically? Because I could think of a few in TV as well that are a little bit more believable.
Hopefully something I've seen so I can go, oh, okay, I see what you're doing here. Like, I mean, there's got to be something that...
Most recently, because I've been watching Daredevil, right?
Okay.
Love Matt Murdock. He's a great character. He's currently where we're at, right? Spoiler alert, by the way. Currently where we're at is he and Karen Page are starting to get a little bit closer together, and it's happening in such a way that I believe it. I believe it. They look like they're genuinely having feelings for each other. Maybe it's not quite love, but it's definitely on its way there. I don't know what's going to happen next, all right? shit could hit the fan and everything could come crashing down around them. But in this moment, like they're sitting on the stairs and they're kissing, and I feel it.
You're buying it.
I'm buying it. Yeah, I'm buying it. Another example of couples that have been taking forever to get together. I watched The 100. Have you ever seen that, Polly?
No, I know of it, but I've never seen it.
Well, it's been several seasons, and Bellamy and Clark have yet to actually get together as they are in the book. By the way, I don't believe they're coupling in the book at all, but I would believe it in their TV show because they are constantly being forced apart by circumstances and then finding their way back to each other. But in addition to that, there are little subtle things about the way that they interact with each other. For instance, when she's in danger, he kind of comes to her rescue in terms of like, oh, let me just knock that cup out of your hand immediately before it is that you realize that it might be poisoned. Or just little tidbits and trinkets of like, I care about you. We're not even in a relationship at this moment, but we care about each other. What else?
Okay. Those are all fair descriptions, and I guess they fit what I was generally saying. How about something that's okay? Ilsa and Rick, in a lot of people's mind, and mine, it's like that's extreme high romance. They are the iconic couple, and they've got this tragic edge because they never end up together. That's the whole point. Is the movie ends with Rick making that spoilers for a movie from what 1943, I think.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, Rick makes that hard call. He goes, maybe the problem is the two people don't amount to a hill of beans in this world. Like, and that whole thing. But just you got to go with him. You're part of what keeps him alive and keeps his mission going, and that's more important than you or I. That whole thing, right? And he decides to live without her. He doesn't want to, but that's the right call to make, so he does. And it's tragic and it's awesome, and that's what makes them this great iconic couple. They're star-crossed in a way.
Tragic, we'll never be together type love stories just as much as the next person. I actually prefer those, just because.
But that's what I'm saying. So that's, for me, one of the examples of high iconic romance. What's that for you? Come on, fill me. Give me a reason to think that you're not cold-hearted here, Weebs. What's a romance that's captured your feminine imagination and gets your heart going all aflutter?
Okay, hang on. I know I have an example for you. Oh my gosh.
1941, 6 says. Okay, thanks, 6. 1941.
Hang on. Because I do have an example. I just, for whatever freaking reason, I can't think of it. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
So I'm chat. Weebs is cold-hearted. You hear that?
I'm not cold-hearted. I have an example. I can't think of exactly it though. I'm sorry. I'm not cold-hearted. I do like tragic love stories.
Well, not even tragic. Like they can end up together. That's fine. Modern, old. It needed to be on film. How about plays? Something Shakespearean.
Pride and Prejudice.
Pride. Okay. Okay. Fair enough. I've never seen it actually, but okay.
Have you ever read it?
No.
There are like 8 million iterations. There's the zombie one.
There's a zombie Pride and Prejudice.
Yes, Pride and Prejudice and Zombies is great too.
Oh fuck. I mean, there's a zombie Abraham Lincoln and.
But okay, so the reason
everything. So why not?
Why there's like literally no reason why it is that Elizabeth Bennet and Fitzwilliam Darcy are supposed to be together, yet they end up together regardless, despite all odds, despite all. He ends up falling in love with her. She realizes that at some point, she loves him, and it makes no sense because they're like assholes to each other the entire freaking book up until, I actually like you, despite your shitty upbringing, despite your, coming from dirt, despite the fact that you're so beneath me in class and I shouldn't love you, I do. These are actual things that he says essentially to Elizabeth, and she's just like, listen here, you asshole. I ain't about that life. Don't you disrespect me. How fucking dare you slight me? And she just tells him to go fuck off, essentially. And that's the end of it. You think, right? But no, apparently, they have like a second chance at a meet cute, right?
Mm-hmm.
He goes to visit Pemberley. And is it in Derbyshire? Yes. When she goes to visit his, homestead, essentially. And back in the day, you could like visit people's mansions and walk around them while they weren't even there and just get a grand old tour of them. I don't get it, but apparently you could. And she just happens to accidentally stumble across Georgiana, his sister, while she's playing piano. And then, Darcy's there and she sees him for the first time acting not like a freaking wooden board who's super freaking rude. And then she's just like, oh, I was wrong all along. And then they have this super awkward interaction. And then somehow they have another interaction later. It matters. And I feel it. And Paul, you need to watch it because it's a great love story.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those films that I've heard about forever and a day, and I've never gotten around to seeing. Oh, is Winona Ryder in it?
No.
Wow, that reduces my interest.
I'm sorry. No, just watch it, all right? Since I watched Casablanca, you have to watch Pride and Prejudice, all right?
No. That's who I
Come on, Paul.
I got into this a similar pact with that's how I ended up watching all 5 Twilight films. If I'm going to watch this, you have to watch Twilight with me.
Okay. I suggest Pride and Prejudice. If you would like to suggest another movie to me that maybe, is better than Casablanca, I will be open to watching it.
Okay, you know what? Separate from Casablanca, I'm not trying to compare them. I'm not trying to couple those films at all. I'm just going to name a movie that I'd like you to see because I'd like your take on it. The Town from 2010.
The Town from 2010.
No, the name of the movie is The Town. Full stop. It is from 2010.
Yeah, that's what
Don't go looking up. Okay, well, you just said it all as one thing, so I'm like, yeah, that's the title of the movie, The Town from 2010. It's a time travel film.
No, I got.
They go back to the not too distant past.
9 years ago. Oh my gosh, what could go wrong? It's not even far enough back to be like, oh yeah, we're gonna stop the Twin Towers from crashing and burning. What? Like, if you're gonna go back in time, at least go back substantially to make a difference.
Right.
Otherwise, what are you doing?
Right.
That's not even remotely a fair deal. I feel like it is. Because I also watched what is it called? Fight Club. And so then I watched Casablanca. So like, Polly, we talked about these other 2 movies. Now you gotta watch Pride and Prejudice. I need your take on this.
All right, I'll go watch Pride and Prejudice. You know what? I shouldn't say it like that. I haven't. Wait a minute. Keira Knightley's in Pride and Prejudice?
Yeah, she is.
Oh, okay. Well, that increases my interest. All right.
It depends on which one it is you want to watch. Do you want violence and gore, or do you want like high society and flamboyant language?
Are you offering the difference between the zombie version and not?
You can watch either.
I was assuming you meant for me to watch the high society one because that would have been the one with the romance and dialogue and the
the other one's romance too. It's just more badass. I like them both for very different reasons. But
Judi Dench is in it too. Angela says.
Keira Knightley. I'm looking at the other chat.
Because I dig me some Judi Dench. She's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Here, you know what? I'll bring up.
Well, okay. Harry Channel says, okay, if you watched Fight Club 2, then that's fair. I did push Fight Club on her. She did it of her own accord.
Well, yeah, no, I did do it by myself, but then we talked about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's only fair.
No, I'll watch it. No, see, the reason I'm saying The Town is because Irate Alex, he thinks that movie's awful. Absolutely awful.
Really?
He's like, I couldn't watch it. I couldn't finish it. I turned it off after about half an hour because it was so stupid. And I'm like, Really? I thought it was fantastic. But I'm into, heist films, number one, are awesome.
Mhm.
Jeremy Renner's in it, and he just knocks it out of the park, even though he's only a supporting character. I didn't even honestly didn't even recognize it was Jeremy Renner because he puts on this Bostonian accent and he's dyed his hair blonde. So and he's actually a real short guy, Jeremy Renner, in real life. But when they've got him in a bunch of the different action movies that he's in, they shoot from different camera angles to not make him look like a little munchkin, which he really actually is in real life. It's like Tom Cruise. They always shoot him in such a way to make him not reveal that he's 5'4". Yeah.
What's wrong with being short, Polly?
Nothing.
Exactly.
Excuse me.
I had to insert the little gibbet.
The gibbet.
World.
Yep. Well, careful. You're doing some underhanded punches at your height. You'll be punching motherfuckers in the kneecaps.
Yep.
Yep.
All right. Okay. So Eve says you're supposed to watch the real one with no zombies, and think who was it that said it's? Someone said it's like a high society comedy of manners or something, which it definitely is. it's all very, very, with nose.
It's all very what with nose? I wasn't looking when you said that.
Is it on the nose or?
On the nose. Okay.
Is it on the nose that I'm going for, or is it like, stick your nose up types of humor?
It sounds like you're going for stick your nose up. I'm gonna guess, because like on the nose would be blunt, in your face, obvious, on the surface.
Yeah, no, it's stick your nose up humor because everyone's super freaking polite because you're supposed to be super freaking polite back in those times, and saying anything even slightly a little bit incourteous is going to crumble your reputation tenfold.
Now, I am aware that such an observation might not be said best in the most polite of company, but if you can believe it, he used the short fork for his salad.
It's clever. It's clever, and I think that you would appreciate that.
Not enough about Soul Plane. I fucking... What? I never even mentioned Soul Plane.
Soul Plane? What's going on? I am confused.
Are you aware of the film Soul Plane?
No.
And I just complimented the fuck out of it by calling it a film. It's a complete grade Z comedy film starring a bunch of morons that, oh god, it's bad. I don't even know how to describe it. Fuck, it's so bad. It's those stupid fake films that people put together as a quick cash grab because of producer investment.
Oh yeah, I'm familiar.
Scary Movie and stuff along those lines.
The Little Mermaid 2018. Yes.
Oh no. 20. At least that's okay. That's
Have you seen it?
No, but I'm aware, like, Bambi Part 2 and shit like that. That's
No. The Little Mermaid 2018 is not the Little Mermaid that is coming out this year at Disney. It is unaffiliated, but they're still mermaids.
Oh.
It's abysmal. It's so bad.
And it's abysmal.
Oh god, it's horrible. And I'm usually, permissible about, crappy princess movies with, elements of magic and shit. It's bad, Polly. It's horrid.
Best princess movie is Star Wars. It has a princess. And she's
I have things that I prefer above Star Wars in that regard.
I'm just saying, it's got a princess. She's wearing robes. She's a badass and a gun-toting and hardcore, but also sexy and demure. It's great.
Sorry, so you were saying?
And she even makes a reference to anal sex. It's great.
Sorry,
What?
What?
What? Huh?
Just continue, all right? What were you saying?
It's a really...
Can I interrupt you?
It's a really old bad joke. You've seen Star Wars, I hope, from '77, the original Star Wars?
Yes, I have.
A New Hope.
The original versions, not the, edited ones with... What's his face?
They're trapped in when they go to rescue Princess Leia from the detention center.
Oh,
where she's
the
being
trash
held.
compactor scene?
Right. But how they get in the trash compactor is that they're stuck in the hallway where all the detention cells are. She grabs the blaster and blows a hole in the grate, and they all jump in it, and then they fall down into the trash compactor, right?
Yeah.
Leia blasts it and throws the gun to Luke and yells at Han, "Into the garbage chute, flyboy!" And it's become a joke that that's a reference to anal sex. Into the garbage chute, flyboy. She's
I mean, like, sure, but that's not the first thing that you think of.
and not the first time she said it, if you know what I mean.
No, I bet it is. I'm pretty sure it is. I can't believe that's a thing.
What?
Into the garbage chute, flyboy. Is it allusion to butt stuff?
Yes, it is absolutely an allusion to butt stuff.
No,
it's not. But in my mind, it's come on. It's a really old joke. Right? That movie's been watched so many times by so many people that every reference has been read into it, and it's awesome because that's just hilarious.
Oh, apparently Jacob Jed is waiting for Eve to start. It's just the only reason why he's here. Thanks, Jacob. I appreciate you being here.
Yeah, that's I get that from Jacob sometimes. He'll show up at Noir Bar and then be or wherever. And it's like, well, Eve's done streaming, so I showed up here. And it's like, thanks, man.
That joke came in through the back door. But thank you the next 6 minutes for that one.
Yeah. Weebo does not know of such things, Polly. No, she don't know about that at all.
Speaking of Star Wars and really crappy, shitty iterations, nothing recent, but have you ever actually seen the holiday special?
Of course.
Yeah.
Repeatedly, yeah.
Oh, you watched it more than once. How did you manage?
You watch it with friends and crack jokes. That's that's the fun to be had with it. If you watch it by yourself, it's baffling. It doesn't make much sense. There's no fun to be had. You know.
How did it become a thing? Who greenlit it? Honestly. So George Lucas?
Well, it happened in between the original Star Wars and Empire, and let's just put something on TV, and it doesn't matter. Let's just get it done. And Star Wars wasn't the, if you'll forgive the use of the pun, empire that it became. It wasn't the so why not? How did that become a thing? Oh, good fucking question. It's an aberration in like 10 different ways. How did they think that this was a good thing? Who the fuck knows? But it's a fantastic
it's something you can only watch with friends while getting pleasantly buzzed.
Yes.
Or unpleasantly in this case.
I wouldn't get cold drunk to it. I don't think that'd be a good idea because you're going to lose interest. Yeah. In my opinion. You've watched it, right?
I did. I watched it last year actually with friends, luckily.
Nice.
And then I did a review on it on the second channel, which I haven't touched in a while. I know. I'm sorry. I should probably put more content on there.
I had this odd idea of, the 10 minutes at the beginning where the Bakas are talking to each other. Mm-hmm. Who are they? They're Itchy, Lumpy, and Mala.
Yes.
Yeah. The grandpa, the kid, and the
girlfriend, wife, person,
furry wife. Yeah. They're relating to each other for 10 minutes straight with just yowls and howls and barks. But it goes on, and it's not like there's fucking subtitles. It's just baffling. What the fuck is it becomes surreal after a few minutes. And I had this idea that nobody copyright claims it. George Lucas has tried distancing himself from it as far as he fucking can. And so I wanted to take that Wookiee scene and write subtitles for it. It's like, if you've ever wondered what they're saying to each other, here it is. And I'm sure there'd be some fun comedy that could ensue.
That would be great, actually. You know what? We could do that.
I think this could be a thing, and it's seasonal. Right now that would be a good run into the Christmas season.
And then just put it on blast. That's how you get views, people.
I got
comedy.
I got a text message from one of my friends. I think today is Life Day. I think the Star Wars Holiday Special aired today in 1978 or 79, whenever it originally aired, I think. Because I got a text message from one of my friends wishing me a happy life day. And it's like, is it?
Okay, I'm looking. November 17th, 1978.
There you go.
I know what the episode name is going to be for this episode of Cocktail Hour, guys.
Happy Life Day, Weebo.
Happy Life Day. Oh, it's brilliant. Everything just comes together so cleanly. Isn't that great?
Oh, and who is it that just said it in chat? Was it Tanya Fullman or I'm so bad at this. Or was it Jan? I can't remember. Have you seen Carrie Fisher's Coke Nail?
Yes, I'm familiar with it. We actually had a very long discussion about this while we were watching the Star Wars Holiday Special.
Nice.
It was not unnoticed.
We were talking about it with on Noir Bar, and your boy Pat was there. And the next day he tweets at me, "I found the picture," and it's the most noticeable version of it. It's in Return of the Jedi, where Princess Leia puts her hand on Han's shoulder and goes, "Come on, let's get going," like to go do their blow up the Death Star's force field deal.
Yeah,
and it's so clear when she puts her hand on his shoulder, because he's got his classic dark vest on or whatever the fuck, and you can so obviously see this big long single Coke nail on her pointer finger. God damn it, Carrie Fisher.
What is it? Is it this one? Hang on. Open image in new tab. There it is.
There, look at that.
The Coke nail.
Why couldn't you get one of those things that I've seen in movies, Carrie Fisher? The little Coke bottles that have like the tiny spoon on the underside of the screw top lid.
Yeah.
Or the tiny little spoon that Priest Youngblood had in Superfly. It was like he had like a crucifix, big gold crucifix around his neck, and the bottom of the crucifix was a little spoon that he would dip into his Coke thing and. Or that it's super fancy. Well, that super fancy double tube thing that Manny and Tony had in Scarface. It was like a single tube to do a line that then split into two tubes to go up your nose.
Yeah.
So they could fill both nostrils off of one line. And I'm like, damn, welcome to Miami in 1985 or whatever the fuck.
I thought I saw the next 6 minutes asked me if I'd ever seen Idiocracy. Is that a movie?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
I've not seen it.
It's a lot of people like it. It flopped. I just watched someone who did a review of it. It's before my time. I've never seen it myself, but I've heard so many people talk about it and reference scenes from it. You know, the kind of thing where you start to feel like I've seen this movie, but you actually haven't. You've just heard.
You've just seen so many memes that you're just like, oh, yep, I know what's coming next. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. It was like when I finally got around to watching a friend's copy of The Big Lebowski. I felt like I had already seen it.
Really?
But I hadn't, because it's just so fucking referenced.
Oh, I have another Nana Jones story. Regarding The Big Lebowski.
Okay.
So you've seen The Big Lebowski, and I'm assuming the rest of the chat has, and we all know how vehemently the F-bomb is dropped within that movie, right? Like,
yes.
Every other word. So I convinced my family that we were going to watch The Big Lebowski one afternoon that was rainy. And this is not just me, my brother, and my dad. This is me, my brother, my dad, my grandmother, my two boy cousins, and I think my younger female cousin too. And so we're all sitting on the couch, and I'm like giddy because I'm like, they're about to experience a cultural phenomena. But little did I, like, I'd forgotten just how much the F-bomb is dropped in The Big Lebowski.
Did it start to get a little uncomfortable?
Well, not necessarily, because it was not just, The only people who made a big deal about it were my grandmother and my dad, but my dad for a completely different reason. He just thought the movie was super stupid. But my grandmother, Nana Jones, was having a hissy fit about all of the language in that movie because it was just constant. It was incessant. But I think the outrageousness of it made the movie, because that is a movie that is outrageous out of necessity. That's the whole purpose, right? It's basically, even in the face of just a whole mountain of nonsense, the dude will abide. That's the point. It's to abide. And I actually, the funny thing is that the only reason I'd seen that movie prior to everyone else seeing it is for a class assignment in college. Because I was in a film study class on Buddhism, and The Big Lebowski was one of those film requirements that we had to watch for the movie. And I actually presented on The Big Lebowski for my project for that class. And
related
I got
to Buddhism?
Yeah, it's related to Dudism, Buddhism. They're, related in a way.
I get the idea. He's sort of floating his way through life and taking things as they come in an unattached manner. Yeah, okay. I guess, yeah.
I actually ended up getting certified in Dudism, ordained as a minister in Dudism.
Nice.
For that class. And it was a funny talking point, actually, that I brought up. But my dad heard about that. He's like, wait, you had to watch this movie for a class in college? What am I paying for?
You even got a snort out of you. Nice.
It's a great time. Nana Jones just was not entertained at all.
Really?
No, she was not. Oh, Daniel Fallman has asked for kitchen updates. Polly, entertain the chat while I send you really quick pictures of the kitchen as it was found 2 nights ago.
Is it worse off?
It's bad. It was not good.
Oh, I was kind of hoping that it was returned to a pristine state.
I have updates for you, and I'm sending them to you Twitter.
To the Twitter?
To your Twitter.
I like the next 6 minutes says, fun fact, Weebo Jones and Princess Leia are the same height.
Are we?
Okay. Yeah. So-called short women are highly attractive, in my opinion.
Of course we are.
That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. I mean,
you a rash of pictures, Polly. I'm sorry. You get to see my kitchen.
Hold on here. Yeah, I still have those other pictures of your kitchen. Where I forget where I put them. They're somewhere on this fucking hard drive.
Okay. Top to bottom. Before we get into the actual picture part of this, I would like to say that I did end up emailing my RA for the floor and the actual building. And I also emailed housing with an entire email dedicated to, laying out the dates and times of everything that was going on and kind of giving a broad overview of what had happened, the steps that had been taken to kind of correct this and whatnot. And I have not heard back from housing. I heard back from the RA, and we never actually ended up having a meeting because he skipped out on the meeting. So I'm kind of on my own on this. And so I need ideas on how to deal with the kitchen nonsense.
Gross.
Right. So from top to bottom, Polly, are you ready?
This is much worse.
Isn't it?
Yeah. This is the stained floor that's right by the garbage, which makes it look like the garbage is leaking garbage juice. This is disgusting.
That was leaked garbage juice from a month ago. The garbage on the floor has not been taken out, and it's been there since Friday?
Now, this cardboard box full of garbage, is that the garbage?
No. That was originally a secondary dish box, and then it got turned into a garbage box. So your guess is as good as mine. I don't know.
So wait a minute, there's dishes underneath that garbage?
Presumably, unless they were taken out, which I have no idea, and I'm not going to dig through to see.
Oh God, there's like coffee grounds and.
Well, Polly, you gotta broadcast it to the audience. We have to discuss them with my kitchen as well.
Okay. Oh, I'm supposed to broadcast it?
Yeah, because I can't from mine because reasons.
Sounded plausible.
That's why.
Hold on, I didn't realize that. I would have been saving these pictures this whole time. Oh God, look at the banana peel hanging off the edge of that garbage.
All right, while we wait, I do have one thing that I want to address. Hello, everybody. You know what time this is. The Harry channel, thank you for the $10 over on the super chats. Weebo, have a bottle of wine on me. You might also like Sauvignon Blanc or Pinot Gris. Polly, imagine the pitch meeting for Paint Your Wagon, a musical starring Clint Eastwood and Lee Marvin.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. There's a musical starring Clint Eastwood and Lee Marvin?
Paint Your Wagon.
I've heard of Paint Your Wagon. I didn't realize, but I've never seen it. I've just heard of it.
Oh, you know what I can do with these is I can project them onto the screen.
Oh, look at that.
Panel. Isn't that pretty?
That's some goddamn fancy, actually. You know, I was making fun of Monkey the other day.
Yeah.
Like, why is it that you don't take advantage of any of the paid-for StreamYard deals that you can do? I said, Weebo does. And he's like, yeah, I know. And I'm like, well, then what the fuck are you paying for if you're not taking advantage of all this stuff? And he said, you know, it's really hard to produce and host a show at the same time. And he's not actually, well, he's not all that wrong about it. I mean,
you just have to coordinate a little bit better, Monkey. You have to have the forethought to actually put things in place in order to get them to be produced in a way that is enjoyable for the audience. Like when I used to run OBS, and I could still do it, I just haven't had the time to actually put any effort into it. I had, you know, the background stuff, the chat that went past, the different iterations of format that I had for the screen, you know, where we just had like the text box, and then we had also the Discord broadcasts, the actual chat itself, intro, outro music, the background music and stuff. It takes some coordination, and you have to actually be aware of what it is that you're clicking on. But yeah, production
and it all went off without a hitch.
Well, no. The funny thing is, and it's a chronic predicament that faces my channel, is that I have my boomer moments.
Yeah,
yeah.
I run OBS for Noir Bar and Comic Book Curation, and it never goes smoothly. It's just you accept it and roll with it, and
yeah,
it's part of the charm of the show.
It is fine, but I will be at some point figuring out how to run desktop audio and route it through StreamYard so that we can watch things while we're live. I have an apparatus to do that. I just haven't set it up yet.
Oh man, I tried a little inside baseball stuff here. Sorry, chat. But I tried cracking away for the longest time to figure out how to use a virtual audio cable or some kind of similar downloadable plugin to enable the people that are in the Google Hangouts with me, because that's where we meet up. That's where I'm capturing the audio from for OBS, right? Mm-hmm. I want them to hear the notification sounds when they go off, because otherwise they end up, you know, blah, 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 blah. I'm in the middle of a sentence and I'm saying all these important things and blah, 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 blah. And then you have to be like, whoa, 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 stop, 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 because you want to read the super chat as soon as it pops up. Mm-hmm. At least I do anyway. If they're not an incessant amount of them, like people that have like 7,000 people in their chat, so they're just constantly coming up. Yeah, you want to be able to read them as they're popping up, or at least say, thank you, hold on, we'll get back to that in just a second. So they need to hear it. Holy fuck, to be able to pipe the sound from the URL capture from Streamlabs over to a Hangout as a secondary mic input, as a secondary mic line in. I couldn't crack the code, man. I couldn't figure it out.
I figured it out.
I haven't given up. I just wasn't. I thought like, well, why don't I do it this way? How about this way? Wait a minute.
If I have to, I will code an actual extension that does that. If I have to, but I don't want to have to if I don't have to.
I really think the answer is to use them as a secondary mic line input. I strongly believe that that's the answer, because it's Google Hangouts. It's not going to accept virtual audio plugins from just plain old audio sources. Mm. And they need to hear. It's like, well, why can't they just hear it on the stream? Unless you're running a stream with virtually zero lag time, that there's no delay whatsoever, they're going to hear it like 10 to 15 seconds late. And that's completely destroys the point, right? Right? Yeah, I'm right.
Right. Okay, did you get those pictures downloaded?
I did. Hold on, let me just bring them up.
All right. We're about to experience Weebo's Kitchen again.
do believe that some of them might have been duplicated, but such is life.
Really?
Yeah, I think I just downloaded some of them twice because I wasn't paying attention.
No, that's fine.
Mm-hmm. All right.
All right. So that's the recycling bin.
There may be some porn in here. Just warning.
Oh boy. Gee, thanks.
Well,
I can go back and edit. It's fine. So that's the recycling bin, as you can tell by the fact that it's full of non-recyclable items.
This is a banana peel. Am I correct? Hanging off the.
Yes, that is indeed a banana peel.
That's nice. It's very nice,
isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, we're not saving the planet in this household. No, we are not.
I'm curious about two things. Number one, who the fuck did your electrician's work? Your sockets installed upside down. Number one.
I don't know.
And number two, what the orange bin on the left says number 2, 4, and 5. What is it? Is that like
those are
numbers?
I think those are different types of recyclable material. So because you also see it's plastic recyclable, so maybe it's the type of plastic that you're recycling.
Got it.
Obviously, that rule has not been followed.
This is some campus shit, all right. You should see how many recycle bins there are on every floor. It's like paper goods, second source recyclable paper goods. Like, it's just so campus hipster bullshit. Like, we're going to save the world and never talk about how China and India are largely responsible for 9/10 of it. Yeah. Okay. So here we go. Number 2.
That's the kitchen table. And it's actually worse now than it was when I took these pictures 2 days ago. But, it looks nasty.
It's a little stained. Yeah, a little stained.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's the
whoa. Sorry.
The box of unwanted dishes. As before I put all of the dishes that you will see in later iterations of these pictures. Before I put all of the dishes in there. That's the box of unloved dishes. And then right next to it, I think it's the next picture. Is it?
Yes, this is it. This is the one that I was asking, like, there's coffee grounds in like an egg container. Like, what is this, a secondary garbage? And it's
don't know what it's for, but it's there and it's not being taken care of and it's obviously overflowing. So who the fuck knows?
And it's somebody's packing garbage because you can see these inflatable plastic packing tubes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And that's the dishes. This was before I got a hold of them because I had had enough. I decided to take all of the dishes and put them into the thing and then put away my dishes that were currently sitting out drying and clean the sink off. And I did my dishes and then I put them away. And I dried them too before I put them away. And then the kitchen sink, it looked pristine and it was good. It was brilliant. I
have this exact same knife sharpener.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Boyfriendo got it for me for college last year because I was complaining about unsharpened knives. I don't know who was using it. Because I certainly wasn't, but someone was using my knife sharpener.
Yeah, I wouldn't have left that in the kitchen. I just assume that things are going to walk off. I leave them in there. Is this a shot glass that's turned upside down on the...
Yeah, that's my shot glass. It's drying.
Is it? Nice. Yeah. I don't know if I'd want to leave any clean dishes around this set of unclean dishes.
Why I decided once I had cleaned everything, I was just gonna I'll let it sit on the dish rack while I'm cleaning the rest of everything. But once I'm done with it, I'm putting everything away in my room. I have all my good dishes in my room right here.
Nice.
Yeah.
What I like about this is that somebody left their plastic chopsticks and Tupperware in the kitchen sink. It's like, don't you want those? Like, especially the Tupperware. Why are you leaving just Tupperware sitting there? It's not a dish. It's not a cooking. Well, I mean, it is kind of a dish, but it's not a pan, is what I'm saying. Why is it just sitting there? Don't you want to clean it to reuse it? Did somebody send you food from home and then you just? Anyway. Yeah. Okay.
The close or not? That's probably duplicate.
Yeah, duplicate image. Okay, here we go.
That's the kitchen sink, right? Or that's the kitchen counter right next to the kitchen sink.
And
those are my scissors too. I don't know what they're doing out.
And people leave stray bread and apples just laying around?
Apparently.
Does that phone actually work?
No, it doesn't.
Whose appliances are these? The blender and the coffee maker?
Those are mine.
Are they really?
And they are clean, I'll have you know.
Is that your kettle too?
No, that's I think that's a rice cooker. One of like 8.
The blue thing here is a rice cooker?
I don't know. I don't know what it's for, but I know that it's quite frequently used.
Well, see, that reminds me of something actually. Because if you go back to this image here, I mean, there's the internal,
the rice cooker internal
pot
bit, yeah.
Yeah. Like, but I mean, you like, so you come into the kitchen, you're like, oh, I'm gonna make some rice and whatever the fuck, and you're like, but you have to like clean it and scrape the rice that's stuck to the bottom. Like that's anyway.
They're soaking it, Polly.
Oh, right.
What you do when you're a college student, you're too lazy to goddamn do your fucking dishes. Sorry.
Now here's the garbage juice picture that turned me off so much. This was,
you can actually see it just right there.
Like, look at it. It's ground into the grout. It's like,
and that was not from the most recent garbage pileup, which you're about to see as well, which is still there 3 days later. That's from a month ago. A month ago.
Damn. And see, I'm not a germphobe. I'm not one of these hyper clean, retentive type people, but I don't know. I just wouldn't want to leave clean dishes in this place because it would just be like, something's gonna migrate, man.
Yeah, I walked past the that's the dishes from the back. You can see they are soaking things.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. But no, I walked past the garbage and dude, flies come out of that shit. Like,
oh, no way.
But now it's just flies.
Flies come out of it. That's awful. I mean, that's okay. So that might mean that flies have flown into the room and went there, or there's maggots in there.
Probably.
Woof.
Ugh.
Okay, what do we?
It's disgusting. Oh, and I told you I cleaned up all the dishes, right?
Yeah.
This was the morning after.
Somebody's cutesy bunny dish.
Yeah, bowl. I don't get it either. But this was the next day, literally less than 8 hours.
What's that yellow? I'm gonna stop asking questions. I
haven't the clue.
Is this the last one?
There should be a garbage picture too. You put that. There we go. And that's the garbage that's been sitting there for 2 days. Oh, you can see more juices from the garbage that have dried from a month ago.
This is it flowed out and just me.
Yes, it has.
Yeah, so you document this, and it's to
ensure that I don't have to pay the garbage hauling fine and then any other cleaning fine at the end of the semester when I move out, or the school year if I don't find another place to live. Balik and I have been talking about finding a different residence hall, but it's, either both of us get to move out or none of us get to move out, because we've been in the same building for the last 4 years. We're not going to stop that tradition now, and it would be so much harder for us to hang out. So yeah.
Man,
this is my life.
This is what it's come to, man.
I'm disgusted. And, I'm not having a great time trying to convince the RA to have a sit-down meeting with me. Like, what is he going to do anyway, even? Like,
get together in a group meeting and have an encounter session.
You are having trouble with your roommates in the way that it is that they are stylizing the way that they live in the house. Yes, it's disgusting. There are flies everywhere. I just cleaned out the fridge of moldy produce. Half of the produce that was in that fridge was molded over. I had to get rid of it because I don't want my produce to get moldy at the same time, because that happens. But there's an entire shelf dedicated to all of their expired food items that aren't produce. They take ground beef, right, Polly? They take ground beef and they open it up and they use maybe a quarter of the package and then they just leave it in there. And they don't seal it up. And then they leave it in there.
Really?
Leave it in there. And leave it in there. And I'm just thinking to myself, you're going to die of food poisoning. If I don't kill you first, you're going to die of food poisoning. Sorry. I'm not actually going to murder anybody. That was a joke. But still, dude.
I remember disgusting incident. So garbage outside, classic, one of them classic black plastic garbage cans. You know what I mean? With the snap top shut thing. This is the last place I lived at. And took the garbage from inside, went and put it outside. And then 2 days later, I went to take another bag of garbage out to throw it out there. And when I opened the snap top lid, maggots. And I was just, God fucking damn it. Like, and that was pretty much my reaction at the time. Like, I dropped the lid. And I was like, God fucking damn, man. It's one thing to see maggots on like a YouTube video or in a movie or whatever the fuck, but when you see them IRL right in front of you, whoo, it's something else, man. It's not cool.
It's so disgusting.
Yeah. Like, I get it. They're part of the food chain, etc. Whatever. It's fine.
You don't want them in your house, though.
Well, I mean, like I said, this was in the garbage, and it had only taken 2 days from the time I had thrown that last bin of garbage out. And I don't know what the fuck was in the garbage that some fly decided to lay eggs on, but fuck me, man.
But yeah, so I have a plan, like one that's going to be super salty and petty. But there's like literally no other way to handle this aside from, hey guys, let me write in another angry, salty, and aggressive note about you guys not taking care of your nonsense and dumping the garbage that you've had, in the hallway in front of you. Aside from that, all I can do is massively inconvenience them the way that they have to me, which means that I'm going to wake up super fucking early and I'm going to clean the whole thing. I'm going to throw out their trash. I'm going to throw out their dishes if they're left in the sink. I'm going to vacuum the whole house at 2 a.m. or something when they're all trying to sleep because they have an exam in the morning. I'm not going to give a fuck. And you know what? They come out, they're going to see that I'm doing this shit, and they're going to ask me, why are you doing this right now? And I'm like, because this is the only time and the only way it's ever going to get actually fucking done.
So what's up with this garbage hauling fee that you mentioned?
Garbage obviously has to be taken out, otherwise it becomes a safety hazard and a health hazard after a certain point. Sure. Obviously, right? You'd think. And so the school won't do it until it becomes that hazard. And at that point, they will charge you if they have to take it out.
Gotcha.
Because we have a guy that does come in and he does clean up like the bathrooms and whatever, the public spaces that aren't the kitchen. The garbage is our job. The dishes are our job. But he comes in and he cleans the bathroom and he restocks the toilet paper and all that jazz. Everything else is kind of our job. But if he sees that something does need to be done, like the garbage is piling up and it needs to be taken out, he will take it out, but he'll have it charged back to our house. And so everyone takes part in covering that expense. And I don't want to do that.
I take it that.
You what?
I take it that like I was just kind of like thinking of a way to do it, that like, all right, here's everybody who's on my floor in the dorm, because this is the way it worked at the dorm that I was at back in the day. Like when shit got to a certain state of disarray, because it's inevitable. It's a college dorm, Here's this list of things that need to be done. Put your name beside something and do it. And the idea being that people are going to pick the thing that they want to do. And if you get stuck with doing something and your name doesn't appear there, and everyone's name was listed at the bottom, so it's put your name beside something and then cross your name out at the bottom. Mm-hmm. And so it becomes very clear who has not crossed their name out, because you can just look at the list and it's like, hey, here's Joan Johnson and Akbar Muhammad and that none of these people have crossed their name out. So it's like, hey, Akbar, what are you going to do? What do you mean? It's like, well, you're not, that is that something that might work?
Well, and that would have worked last year when we, had a collaborative of people who were cooking food for each other, and we were, socializing with each other, and we talked to each other. But this year, half the house doesn't talk to the other half of the house. The other half of the house only cooks for themselves and then leaves their dishes in the sink and makes all of the garbage, whereas me and Balak and the ghost who lives all the way down the hall, who we never see or talk to, we don't make any of the garbage. And any garbage we do make, we keep in our room. Like, I have a trash in my room right here, right now. This right here is about to get taken out in the morning tomorrow. Yes, it's a wicker basket with a plastic bag in it. Because I'm economical like that. I save plastic bags and I actually use them like a normie. Too bad your place does not get inspected every so often. It shouldn't have to. That's the thing. We're all goddamn adults. We should be able to handle a little bit of garbage in a responsible adult-like manner. We should be able to do the dishes that we do. And for the most part, Balak and I do our dishes. Yeah? I have dishes sitting over there that do need to get done, but I haven't gotten a chance to because I just made that.
Isn't he the RA?
Huh?
Isn't he the RA?
Balak is not the RA.
Who's the RA?
Someone who doesn't even live here.
Well, I mean, that's not uncommon. Is it the RA ain't doing nothing about it?
I emailed him, Polly, and he skimped out on our meeting that we were supposed to have.
Oh, that's right. You did say that.
2 weeks ago.
That's right. Right. Okay, I remember that now.
We had a time and a date set up, and he was going to come to me, and guess who didn't show up?
Yeah, right. Hold on, I'll be back in just a hot second.
Anyway, so that's my current struggle, ladies and gentlemen. How are you doing? I can actually read the email to you guys if you would like me to. Should I? I could do that. Let me find it. It's a sent email, so. Theme music. Oh my god, it's so far back. Where did it go? Oh, wait, maybe it's not that far back, because... Oh my god, where did it go? Roommates. There it is. Okay. Messy roommates. That's the subject title. Good afternoon. I have included in this email my direct neighbor for the hall floor, Balak, as I'm aware of his feelings and thoughts on the matter of our messy roommate situation, as well at the housing and RRA, as well as including the University Housing Department and RRA, so that a number of people have this information directly at hand. Since the beginning of this year, Balak and I have been dealing with the situation where the common areas have been left in filthy conditions after use by other occupants of the third level. I am not sure who has been responsible, but it has persisted despite multiple notes left in the public space. The first note was left on September the 23rd until a newer and more specific note was posted in its place on October the 23rd, so a month apart. This was done in an attempt to handle a problem that shouldn't have gotten to this point, but has nonetheless in the house. As we don't know who is responsible for the messes due to not being present at their inception, we can't directly approach said party to ask them to take care of it directly. Since the posting of the first note, there has been no improvement, and in fact, the problem has exacerbated. I have included the following pictures taken with dates attached to them so as to establish a timeline. And then I have a picture of dishes from August 24th, I have a picture of dishes from August 27th, a picture from September 23rd, and so on. When we came back from fall break on October the 20th, we found ourselves greeted with the following sights. Attached in a zip file, as the email will not support anything larger, you will see a roommate has taken the kitchen trash out of the can twice, tied it off, and left it to sit in the kitchen. They'd done the same thing with the bathroom trash over break, and as such, we are not sure for how long it had been sitting there. In addition, you can see the recycling bins have been filled to such a point where a box, the one that you saw with the coffee grounds in it, has been conscripted as a makeshift recycling bin. The stovetop has been coated in food, a fire hazard we would find out in an email a day later from housing when they sent us an email with the subject stovetop cleaning fire prevention.
Okay, because the salt laden letter has been well excerpted. That's
It goes on, Polly.
I have no doubt of that. I would have been surprised if it didn't. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you have hairpins holding your hat?
I do.
I knew it. Gravity don't work like that. That thing should fall off. I just.
You think my head just magically manages to keep this hat staying on top of it?
Well, I thought maybe you were doing some clever girly thing where you had some of your hair bunched up inside of it to hold it just so. And then I thought, no, man, maybe
it's not going to do anything. No, you have to pin it, which is why you get the crocheted hats so that you can pin it.
Right. Yeah, no, I because I'm thinking like, how is that hat staying on? Because you were leaning over reading, right? And I'm like, yeah, gravity doesn't work like that. That thing should fall off. I'm like, and then it occurred to me, maybe it's something much simpler. Maybe she's just affixed it to her head. And there you go. Okay. I appreciate this attention to detail. I like the idea of Weebs like looking around for a hairpin going, well, I have to have my hat secured at this jaunty angle. So let me get some hairpins and make
Doesn't
it
look at this. It's just
it does. It looks great.
There's so much extra hat on this side right here.
Yep.
I have 3 pins holding it in. One right here. One right. Was it right here? Yeah, one right here.
Yep.
Where's the third one? Oh, I lost it. Oh, right here. Right here.
No, it's good attention to detail. That's what makes the outfit come together.
Exactly. You need to be able to maintain your look, your aesthetic. Polly, you would know all about this.
I do. I have been collecting pictures for.
Yeah.
Oh, remember that picture I sent you the other day? And I said, "Is this?"
The sexy or slutty?
Yeah, is this sexy or slutty? Yeah, that was. I've been collecting.
I said trashy, by the way.
Yeah, your call was neither. Probably more trashy than anything. Monkey agreed with you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Let's show chat. I was collecting pictures for Noir Bar pop-ups and stuff like that, and fucking around with merch and different things. Again, for Noir Bar, so there are images that are along those lines.
Yeah.
Did I put on my external hard drive? Oh no, I didn't.
Who says I look adorable?
Well, you do.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I try. It's the dimples, obviously.
Succeed. Okay, here. Let's just bring up that picture, and then also. Oh, there's a slutty or trashy right there. And is there another one?
You could always just go to Discord and be like, this is the picture, because it was recent in our chats.
No, I'm just opening a series of pictures, and then I'm going to be able to share my screen because technology.
What? You don't say. Oh, one last thing about the messy kitchen situation, right? I went through the fridge and I told everyone, like, I threw out a whole bunch of nasty, but I also took everything that was mine and Bailick's and I put it on the one shelf and I just put all of their shit, on the bottom shelves. Because I'm just like, I'm sick of this. I don't want to get my shit grossed out by your shit, especially when you have orange juice. Did you know orange juice can expire and look brown after a while?
Oh.
It can.
I kind of knew that. It depends on what color of brown you mean. I've seen it look not orangey enough anymore where it's like this has got to be expired, and where it
goes from like bright vibrant orange juice to sad and pathetic and lonely. It looks like it's been contaminated with several months of cigarette smoke, and it owes someone child support.
Okay, I'm gonna file that one away for later use. That's good. All right, so let's just let's go. Chat, you tell me, is this slutty or sexy or Weeb's offered trashy? I wasn't certain.
The reason why I think it's trashy is because she's got the pastel of the yellow dress does not quite match the color of the shoes, which is like a nice pink purpley, but it's not pastel, so it doesn't quite go as well together. And of course, there's also the pose that she's striking right now, so that definitely doesn't help. It has nothing
Well,
to do necessarily with the open leg shot. It's mostly the way that she's conducted herself on what she's conducting, like not her like her manner of holding her body, but like the way and where it is and the clothing that she's wearing.
see, a lot of the excuse me, a lot of the images that I've taken are, I mean, it's noir bar, and since you've seen Casablanca, you get the idea. Like a little bit less North African, but that the image in Rick's Cafe American, people are smoking cigarettes. It's a cabaret, you know, that sort of look. So there's a lot of cigarette smoking. There's a lot of drinks around. There's a lot of women that have that femme fatale look about them. A lot of gentlemen with a little panache, shall we say, that sort of thing. And you go with the black and white with a sepia tone. At least that's what I do in Photoshop to kind of get the look all consistent. So I grabbed this image as a color image, as you can obviously see.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking I could black and white this out because it's kind of sexy. I'm like looking at it, I'm like, no, I don't think that's sexy. I think it might be trashy. And I started thinking maybe it's that plastic party cup. Like if I were to replace it with like a glass or a champagne flute, then maybe it wouldn't look as trashy. And then I realized, is it subconscious? Is it because there's no visible underwear? Is that what's going on?
No, because see, that's not the thing that I'm taking into account. I
mean, like seriously, like look, it's
where she is. She's dressed up, right? Like she's got somewhere to go, but she's sitting on who knows what kind of pile of nonsense.
Those are piles of pillows or sandbags, in my opinion, on top of some kind of like rolling industrial cart.
Yeah, so like she looks like she. Not slutty, but she looks like she just got out of a meeting with her drug dealer and she's waiting for her ride to pick her up while she's enjoying a smoke and some water or something.
That's what Daniel Follman says a lot. You know, if you crop it at the elbows, that's what I was thinking. Like if you go right about here, so you could think that she was leaning on a bar or something, and then the remainder of the image was black and white and sepia toned. I think it might work. It would
work. Yeah.
This is Con Nielsen, by the way. I don't know who that is. I'm assuming some kind of actor or model or something. Hungover walk of shame. Well done. That's exactly what it looks like. She's wearing the dress from the night before. Yes.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say necessarily slutty. It's more it just feels trashy.
No, I'm not trying for a clear bird shot, Angela. I was just pointing out that the woman has no visible underwear. And I think that's why her hand is positioned just so. It's not accidental in the shot, you know? So
she's pretty. I'll give her that.
Yeah. I'm getting a lot of fur coat, no knickers. Okay. Sadistic atheist. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of trashy from chat. I agree.
It's not just me.
No. See, I wasn't trying to argue against anyone. I was like, I'm just not certain. I think it's a number of things that all come together. Now, this one, what do you think?
Sultry. She looks like she's attempting to seduce, obviously. Why would you wear a shirt cut that low?
I get femme fatale, sultry. This is a woman who's going to take you for everything you're worth. There's a good chance that she has a derringer in her garter belt. Yeah. She knows the nightclubs of Paris and Hong Kong equally well. Yes, that's what I get. And I mean, damn, that is an extremely low cut.
That's not just
dress.
Cleavage, that is under boob.
Yes, and that's a remarkable combination, I have to say. Cleavage and under boob. A dress that's so low cut that it requires double-sided tape. This is a thing of which I approve.
I will say this. I don't like the unevenness with which we are seeing the underboob. I would have preferred. Well, maybe it's just a shadowing effect.
Oh, I was going to shadow her left on our right underboob a little bit more in Photoshop if I was going to use it.
Now, Lion Patriot says too much makeup, but I think that that's the perfect amount for what she's going for.
Yeah, because she's got her eyes closed, the eye makeup is a little obvious and strong. Perhaps she could have gone with a couple of size smaller eyelash extensions.
No, it would be the eyeliner. It could have been more subtle or not as much. But the thing that you have to look at when it is you're looking at makeup regarding women is a good rule to avoid looking like you are overdoing it makeup wise, is natural on the lips, more emphasis on the eyes, or less emphasis on the eyes, more on the lips. You can't have both, otherwise it's overwhelming. It's overbearing, and it has the opposite effect that you want it to, right? So, for example, or to like give you an idea, women usually put on makeup to kind of give the idea that they are ready to mate, because some of the makeup effects that we go for, at least traditionally, not so much nowadays, are intended to simulate that of arousal, right? So that's kind of what it is that they're supposed to do. So typically when a woman is aroused, she gets a little bit more blushy, she gets a little bit wider eyed, she gets her lips are a little bit more puffed, I guess. These are just like natural physical phenomena that happen. And so makeup is supposed to simulate that effect. Of course, you can go a little bit extra just to kind of emphasize it, but certainly not too much. Of course, it's up to the woman's whatever she wants to do. But the other effect that you get if you go too much on both is that, one, your eyes look less big if your lips are also big at the same time. And two, your lips seem way too large if your eyes are also overdone.
Harry Channel says the hair is wrong for noir. You need something more Veronica Lake / Jessica Rabbit. Yeah, I hear that. I mean, sometimes the images work, they don't. I jokingly say I'm a time traveling bartender, so I can fit all sorts of things into the category of that which is noir a little bit easier. I just don't want to fill every picture with nothing but like 1950s, 1940s flappers. You know what I mean? Because it's one of my favorite animated GIFs that I use for a pop-up for Streamlabs over there is Jessica Alba in just bra and panties on a bed with a cigarette, and she's just turning over and then takes a bowl off the cigarette and smiles. And I took that image and black and whited it and then sepia toned it and recut some of the frames, and it looked it so works for noir. I don't know why, it's got that vibe. So yeah, it doesn't need to be true to the genre exactly.
Perhaps.
I mean, this one isn't noir, but I totally dig it. It fits. This is exactly the kind of lady to be hanging out at Polly's place. Yeah,
absolutely, definitely. And I think that if you took the black background effect and you applied it to the last picture, it would work a bit better, because then you'd be, decontrasting the hair, and it wouldn't be so much of an issue.
I wanted to see if this picture was going to work initially because it's a color photograph, and I just grayscaled it.
Yeah.
But I'm far from done working on it. I'm going to cut her out of the beanbag chair she's sitting in. It's just going to be solid black, and the only thing that I'm going to leave in the background is this lighter haze to show that there is a background. I kind of wish the hat was solid instead of woven like this, but whatever,
Yeah, that's fair.
And then this is what I look like at a bar in my imagination.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yep. I don't know. Hair is not just slightly askew.
Well, you see, he's a world-weary man that knows the dark side of what people can do, and he needs to come into a saloon and get a drink, and doesn't really want to talk to people, but everyone notices him because he's got that kind of charisma that just brings the eyes to him.
Keep telling yourself that. I do like the black and white effect. I actually prefer it to the, the red scale that I put on usually, because I don't know, there's just something about, no, not that. There's just something about this that, I appreciate this. It looks nice.
Well, yeah, no, I like it. I approve. It's too bad that filter doesn't also come with you could do overlays too, right? Like PNG overlays in StreamYard?
I think so. But we have yet to actually test that.
That's that's something we could do, because you if you had that black and white image and you also used gradient edges, it would give like a softened effect to the corners, and it would really sell that a lot more. It would look a lot more photography. Richard Art says, you say it's a noir bar, but it's in color. What the fuck, Polly? Well, see, here's the thing. In the 1940s, people did see in color. Now,
what? No. Polly, you're lying.
I'm just being a dick. No, I get the point you're making, Rich. You're right. And if I'm actually remaining consistent, it shouldn't look like that. But I play fast and loose with it, so
He's fast and loose with it.
Yeah, and that's my explanation. Is that it's like it's not looking at the 1940s; it's being in the 1940s. And somebody pointed out, wait a minute, aren't flappers from the 20s? Like I said, fast and loose, man. Leave it alone. It's fine.
Time traveling bartender.
That's right. There's all sorts of things that I've grabbed from all sorts of eras. Jessica Alba shouldn't be there at all, but she's played a bunch of noir roles. And when I was looking around, she for images of her, I mean, she's in both Sin City movies that are intentionally noir or film noir as fuck by Frank Miller because he loves the genre and he's right to do so because it's awesome. But then she did this entire photo shoot series of her in film noir clothing. Some of it's more effective than others. I just think Jessica Alba fits into that role quite nicely. And she's from definitely not the 1940s, but in Time Traveling Bartender, I brought her back. It's fine.
That's nice. Polly, we're at 2.5 hours. Cocktail hour. Yeah, we have.
Oh, wow.
Is that nice?
Okay.
I have the rest of the section of my thesis to get done, and I'm pretty sure you have other things that you have to get to as well. Before you
yeah. Let's pretend that I'm going to do the high stack of to-do things on my list of responsibilities and not just laze the fuck out for the rest of the night. Let's pretend.
Let's pretend. Yeah. Well, I have work in the morning, so I do have to do things and get things done on my stack of to-do things. So, with that, ladies, gentlemen of the chat, thank you for coming out and watching us and enjoying our rambling nonsense. Polly, thank you for joining me. Donators, thank you for contributing to the Weebo Financial Fund. It will go to great use, I promise you. Thank you for donating to Polly as well, and all of that jazz. Polly, did I miss anything?
No, thank you very much for the donate. Excuse me. Thank you very much for the donations, guys. Thanks for being here. And yeah, we'll be back same time next Sunday to do more drunken rambling. That's how we roll. And hopefully the kitchen will be clean by then. Am I right? Yeah, I'm right.
Yeah, it'll be clean by then. Yeah, that's exactly.
Oh yeah, and Daniel Fulman makes a good point. Go check out Chaos Eve's channel if you're into game streaming at all or just fun conversation. I watch it. It's a good time.
Absolutely. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back next week. Don't forget to check out your lovely co-hosts. Links in the description. And we'll be seeing you when we see you next. Bye.
Have a good night, everyone.